What's up, SNA fans? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another SNA podcast. And this is a very special edition of the podcast because this is my this is my 200th episode of the podcast. Also, not to mention it being my first ever AEW pay-per-view review, which it was very interesting and absolutely entertaining. And especially in the main event, which we do see the reveal of the Mystery Devil, and I'm going to talk about that as soon as I get towards the end of the podcast. I'm going to talk about when I'm talking about the main event, of course, but yeah. But we're gonna get there at the end of the video. But we're gonna start off with the kickoffs, which was the battle royal, which Luchasaurus, or should I say Kill Switch, won. And we also had that the FTW Rule Street Fight match with Hook and Willer Yuta, which he beat Willer Yuta with him hitting the Red Room onto him with the broken bottom piece of the hockey stick. But now to the real show, to the AEW pay-per-view World's End. And yeah, again, this is my first ever time doing the AEW pay-per-view. So I'm gonna make sure I collect everything, like what happened, what went down on tonight's event, which was the 8-man tag match from the four sides, or like four out of the, I would say the four out of the, I'll say 12 members from the Continental Classic tournament was an 8-man tag match on the start of the show, which was Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Claudio Castagnoli and Daniel Garcia taking on Jay White, Roosh, and Jay Lethal and Brody King. We're gonna. This is where we do have the match right here. This is where it started off with. This is where it started off with Claudio Castagnoli. When they start hitting, they were going for a punching battle. They started to yes. When Claudio Castagnoli was hitting a European uppercut onto on the Brody King. This is where he was like, come on, people, keep up that enthusiasm. This is where he tried to go for a suplex, but this is where Brody King started trying to drag onto his leg. This is where he goes for a suplex. Claudio Castagnoli rolled out of it. This is where Brody King tried to go for a clothesline, but Claudio Castagnoli had the big boot out of the way. But this is where we got some technical difficulties in the cameras. I was like, what's wrong with the production into the on the screen, on the TV, on the camera screen, like on the hard camera on the TV screen, like of the pay-per-view, of course, of AEW World's End. Is where they managed to fix the issue. This is where we had Jay Lethal get tagged in by I think by Brody King, and then Mark Briscoe with and it was Mark Briscoe with what's his name? It was him and Mark Briscoe, and they started adding themselves automatically onto Gunther's envy list about 1,000 times because they're hitting nothing but chops, like in the chop war when they first got in the ring. They're like, boom, like come on, like that's all you got, like bring on some more. Like this is where they start continuing to hit their chops respectively on each other. This is where This is where they started, hitting nothing but chops on one another. This is where let's see. Let's see. What's let's see. Okay, but anyway, this is where he tagged back in Brody King. This is where they started doing this is where they started beating down the former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion. This is where they started doing a 4-way team, I suppose, like with him, with them. It was Jay Lethal, then they tagged in Jay White, and then it was Roosh. They started hitting their respective moves on him until Brody King got back in. He got tagged in. This is where he got out of his grasp, tagged in Claudio Castagnoli. This is where Claudio Castagnoli started hitting European uppercuts onto the House of Black member. This is where he started going for right hands onto Claudio. This is where they started hitting clotheslines on each other, but they started bouncing off of one another. This is where he started hitting right forearms and European uppercuts onto the mad dog of the House of Black. And this is where Claudio Castagnoli was repeatedly doing it for like 20 times until the referee's like, all right, you need to stop. I think you did enough. And this is where Cesaro's like, come on, keep on cheering. This is where he tried to go for a suplex. This is where Brody King was hanging on to him. This is where this is where Claudio tags in what's his name? This is where he tags in Daniel Garcia. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to take down the former Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Lethal. This is where Jay Lethal countered and intercepted him. This is where he tried to go for the lethal injection, but Daniel Garcia dodges the lethal injection, hits him with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and got the 1, 2, 3, and got your winners of tonight's first eight-man tag match, I should say, to be the exact. Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson, and Mark Briscoe. Well, let's move. What's your thoughts on that match? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hopefully I don't sound too off onto the match. This is where we got Miro. This is where we start our next match, which is Andrade taking on Miro, and I guess I was right in a way, but I'm gonna get to that in just a moment from about my prediction. But yeah, this is where they start battling out until Miro brought down Andrade, starts stomping him right in his back. This is where CJ Perry was cheering on the leader of El Idolo. This is where Miro's like, I understand why you're cheering for this fool for. Like, you should be cheering for me, your husband. And then she was like, nah, whatever. Like, it's not about you. Like, it's about Andrade. And then this is where Andrade went onto the corner, onto the right, not the right, the bottom corner of the hardest partner in the ring apron, hit him with a dragon screw twist right onto the right onto the leg of Miro. This is where he gets back in the ring, try to do that big, try to go for a big boot, but he made that to a distraction, so Miro easily could dodge it. But really, he hits into a back elbow kind of position maneuver onto the head of the former Bulgarian Brute. This is where Andrade's like, no matter, like, I can get back up and go back and I can get back up and try to hit him with a better move. Like, I think I have one in mind. This is where Andrade started hitting his father-in-law and his wife's finishing maneuver, which is the figure four. First was figure four, started grabbing, pulling on his leg while he put his leg right on top of his. This is where Miro's like, no, I will not tap. No, let go. And then until he finally managed to roll out of it, make him be down onto his knees, and then because once he did that, it's where Andrade tried to put a bridge, put his hands right on right under his head, like his wife Charlotte Flair would do. But this is where Miro rolled out of it, start bending, crushing his knees and legs right onto the canvas, with him turning them around. But it didn't last for long because Andrade turned right back around. It's where he finally executes the figure eight. And I guess, like I said, in the beginning of this review of this match, I guess my prediction was correct, because this is where CJ Perry pushes his hands down, from even him doing the bridge, the bridge stand, what he was doing, into the figure eight maneuver. And this is where Andrade's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? And this is where she starts smiling, and then this is where Miro hits his signature move, I believe, the Moscow super kick. But he kicked out at 2.9999999999999 double triple nines, which is negative 0.1 away from being 3. This is where he hits that camel clutch he does, which he used to call it the accolade in WWE, which I believe he gave it a new name. But yeah, he made him pass out of that maneuver, the submission move, and he got the victory thanks to his wife CJ Perry turning on Andrade El Idolo. And then this is where she celebrated with him instead of her former client. And for those who watched AEW World's End tonight, what are your thoughts on CJ Perry turning her back on Andrade and costing him the match? But yeah, let's move on to the next match. This is where But yeah, what are your thoughts, for those who watched, what are your thoughts on this shock of betrayal from CJ Perry? Was it expected, or did you thought that Jewett might be Miro's manager and turn her back on Andrade on a later date? Let me know down in the comments below. But I kind of jinxed it just a little bit. I was like, something just tells me this is all just an illusion, for Lana to be Andrade's manager. And then this could be and if Miro wins, this could possibly be because of her turning her back on if she turns her back on Andrade to help her husband out to get the victory. And also I was like, but if Miro wins, he probably will win this, and then this will lead up to Andrade demanding for a rematch, which I believe he'll have a rematch the next time. And I also said we could also see him having a replacement manager as well, from rumors speculating online with his father-in-law Ric Flair being his new manager, considering he was the surprising guest of Sting in his birthday, and he's gonna be his manager for his retirement tour. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, which I kind of jinxed it. Like I said, you can all blame or thank Super Ninja Austin for running his big mouth for jinxing CJ Perry's betrayal on Andrade and realigning with her husband Miro. But anyways, we go to the AEW Women's World Championship match. But this is where we got a backstage interview with Dante Martin, which but she was explaining that he just came back from his latest injury from last month in November, and he said he's gonna be ready to fight for some championships. And he said and he said he just pinned the championship from last night on AEW Rampage, which he did in that 6-man tag match between Best Friends and Top Flight. This is where he's like maybe I should go after that particular champion. He was like, and this is where Orange Cassidy heard this, and he was nearby, and he was like, all right, I know the rules. I have to defend my international championship. Like, I want to tell you the good luck. And then this is where Dante Martin was like, I don't need no luck, buddy. Like, I have all the talents and I have all the skills enough to put you onto the mat for the 3 count once again. And then this is where Orange Cassidy was like, all right, we'll see about that then. But who do you think is going to win this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite? I believe they're going to have a New Year's special, a New Year's special edition, if not already, which I would say I think they just did New Year's Smash, but they should have some other like a New Year's event, considering it's the first AEW Dynamite and the first Wednesday of January in 2024. But let me know in the comments down below, which I believe Orange Cassidy's going to retain. And he's going to have another lengthy reign as the international champion, on my opinion, of course. Which I think some babyfaces should be just as much as like heels, like have more longer title reigns in the world of professional wrestling. But anyways, this is where we got the women's world championship match of All Elite Wrestling. It was Timeless Toni Storm taking on Riho. This is where Timeless Toni Storm had her in a headlock, hit her with a single axe handle. This is where she Irish whipped her right to the right corner. This is where she got countered into a sunset flip by Riho. And then this is where she only got a 2 even count. This is where Timeless Toni Storm hits a smashing headbutt right into the head of Riho. This is where Timeless Toni Storm goes for a double clawed slam right onto the canvas. This is where Riho instantly kicks out at 2.1. This is where Timeless Toni Storm's like, okay, she want to play that game. I'll play with her, like with that silly proper look, if that makes sense to you. This is where she starts stomping onto her back and start walking across her. She starts flexing her muscle. And this is where she hits an elbow drop right into the lower back of Riho. This is where she picks up Riho. This is where she puts her between the top and middle ropes and then had her draped on her and stretching her torso, bending it back, bending right all over her back. And this is where she started squeezing her like if she was doing some kind of camel clutch maneuver, like a standing camel clutch maneuver, until the referee was like, nope. I know, you cannot do this, or you're going to get DQ'd by count of 5, even if you do retain. This is where she let go. This is where she hits a big body slam back in the middle of the ring, but she only got a 2.1 count once again. This is where she hits a single leg Boston Crab, and I believe she's not from Boston, but she still used it anyways. But I don't think you have to be from Boston just to use the maneuver. It's just the name that somebody perhaps from Boston created. But yeah, either way, she's not from Boston. She's not even halfway from Boston. So yeah, she's just doing the maneuver because she must have been inspired of using the maneuver. But anyway, this is where Riho grabs onto the ropes, into a rope break. This is where the referee's like, all right, we have to let go. This is where Timeless Toni Storm. This is where Timeless Toni Storm was like, Luther, time to carry me. Because that's what she always does, sometimes during their match, so she can be making herself look like she's more taller than she is, which I don't think she is quite that tall, but yeah, that's why she needed him to carry her, because she picked up Riho from inside the ring, had her standing right onto the bottom corner apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, but not as I'll say, but she didn't hit her with that such part of the ring, rather than the second hardest part of the ring, which ramming her right to the lower right corner of Rita, the ring post, which she fell right off, hitting right after she hit face first, right onto the steel ring post. But somehow Riho rolled back in the ring when the referee I believe was a count of 7. This went during Timeless Toni Storm was doing her close-up right into the middle of the ring. She was doing a close-up like that pose she do, And then this is where she hits the Texas Cloverleaf right onto Riho, like right in the middle of the ring. This is where Riho was trying to crawl out of it and trying to go to the ropes for a rope break for like the third time in this match. But this is where Luther was pulling it away. This is where the referee's like, no, what are you doing? I it's one thing that you're carrying Thomas Tony Storm and helping her fighting Riho by being the support for her, but this is way too much for trying to help her cheat and not trying to make it fair for Riho. And he was like that's it. Like, you're gonna get back into the locker room because like you are ejected from this match. That's what he's like. He's like, you get out of here. Like, we don't need your care. This is why Lethal's like, not Lethal, Luther. Luther was like, you can't do this to me. Like, I'm Thomas Tony Storm's butler. Like, you need to respect that. And this is where Tony Storm's like, referee, you cannot do this. Like he did nothing wrong. Like, and this referee's like, it was staring at her, was like, oh yes, he did. This is where he tried to go for the Tiger Driver. This is where Riho was rolling out of it. This is where she tried to go for a body slam. Riho counted out of that too. This is where she tried to Irish whip her right onto the right-hand corner ropes. This is where Thomas Stone Storm countered out of it. This is where Riho hits a flying head scissors and throwing her right towards the middle ropes. And this is where she hits this 619-like move, like with the double knees to the face, like spin around double knees to the face. And this is where she hits the ultimate comeback move in all of sports entertainment / pro wrestling in 2023, the crossbody, which is the last wrestling event before 2023 is over. But this is where Riho finally hits her with that Falcon's body slam. This is where she tried to go for a pin, but she only got a 2.7 count. This is where Rio's like, damn it. Like, what do I gotta do to put away this Hollywood freak or whatever, or this Hollywood addicted freak? That's she's probably thinking in her head. This is where she hits another diving crossbody. She must have been double lucky before anybody criticized me in the comments saying like Super Ninja Austin, but how do you know if that's her signature or finishing move? Like, well, it don't have to be. Like, it mainly is the case of signature finisher. It could be a normal move, and you could still be double lucky if you strike it twice at 2 times in a row. But anyways, this is where Riho hits a double foot stomp on the Thomas Tony Storm right on the top corner apron. This is where she throws her back in the ring. This is where she hits this double Nelson driver right onto Tony Storm in the middle of the ring, but Thomas Tony Storm kicks out at 2.5 seconds. This is where Thomas Tony Storm started to crawl right onto the upper left corner, and then this is where Riho was at the bottom right-hand corner. This is where she tried to go for the double knees, but this is where Thomas Tony Storm counters out of it. This is where Thomas Tony Storm nearly hit her signature move, the running hip attack, but nobody home. She landed her hips right onto the bottom, to the middle turnbuckle. This is where, but Thomas Tony Storm still managed to hit the Storm Zero right onto Riho when she tried to run right towards her to hit some kind of an attack move. But yeah, Thomas Tony Storm hits the Storm Zero, but she instantly kicks out at 2.9999999999999. Double triple nines and to minus 0.1 away from being 3. This is where Tony Storm grabs onto Riho. This is where she tried to go for a Storm Zero the second time, but it wasn't no guaranteed regardless. Because Riho hits like a SOS like leg rolling move, like flipping her over into a pin, but she only kicks out at 2.99999, double triple nines, 0.1 away from being 3. This is where she tried to go for. This is where she hits. This is where she hits that swinging kick right into the head. This is where she tried to go for. This is where she tried to go for a pin. This is where she tried to go. This is where she tried to go for a pin, but Tony Storm had her arm onto the ropes at 2.9, and this is where Riho goes right up on the top rope. This is where she gets slammed off though as soon as Tony Storm got back up. This is where she hits her with this there's reversed hip toss DDT like maneuver, like driver, like right into the middle of the ring, which I'm not sure what she calls it, but this is the first time I actually saw her did this move before. Like, she just slammed her face first right onto the canvas, and she got the 1, 2, 3. I was like, wow, like, did she really just win with that maneuver? Like, hopefully this is gonna be it's gonna be a more often move for her. Like, second, like next to her Storm Zero move, like they can make Storm Zero be the secondary maneuver, while the this move, this hip, there's a hip drag DDT driver maneuver, like be the main finishing maneuver, because it looks very impactful, if that makes sense. But this is where but yeah, that was your match, and this is where Mariah May started spinning around, throwing some rose petals and celebrating with her idol. What's her name? Timeless Toni Storm. And then with her celebrating by having the AEW Women's Championship in her hands, raising her hand, like along with Mariah May, raising her hand up for her to celebrate. Like, she's gonna walk out in the new year as the new AEW Women's World Championship, and I believe, yeah, we all agreed that Toni Storm was going to retain that championship anyways. Like, it was only a matter of time. Like, I mean, not a matter of time. I'll say it was only just an easy prediction. Like, even though Riho did put on a performance, one heck of a performance, and made it believe that she could do an upset, but unfortunately, it didn't. Unfortunately for her case, like, it wasn't enough to put away the reigning defending AEW Women's World Champion. And what do you think? What's next for the Timeless one? And do you think she's gonna hold that title for quite a while? And who's gonna be her next challenger for that championship? Let me know in the comments down below. But this is where we got Swerve Strickland. It was supposed to be him and Keith Lee, which it looked like that match is going to be delayed and down the line in 2024. Whether it be in a Revolution or even some big special AEW show, whether that be on Dynamite, like a special edition of Dynamite, or a special episode of Collision. But yeah, either way, like, it didn't make no sense whatsoever. 2 + 2 = potatoes of the night. But that's not the only 2 + 2 = potatoes of the night. But this is just the only one. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what's your thoughts on why Keith Lee didn't show up tonight. And Dustin Rhodes took his place, like, into facing Swerve Strickland. And as you can see, you've seen Prince Nana doing the swerve when he drives dance, because he needs that's his dance move, like something that he came up with, which I believe was very genius of the guy. And then this is where he also do the cowboy dance too, while Swerve Strickland was making his entrance. I was like, yeah, like, he swerves when he drives. Like, even if he has a new car, I believe he does that as well. Like, because I'm not sure if he does know how to drive. That explains why he takes Uber rides. Like, and he has to pay $600 for the rides everywhere he goes. No, that was just a joke. But anyways, he faced Dustin Rhodes. He get a pre-match beatdown, I should say. Like, before the match even started, this is where he started beating the absolute crap out of the poor, beat the absolute sugar honey iced tea out of him, I should say. Like, and this is where he hits, and this is where he puts. This is where he puts cinder block right beneath his leg, and then this is where he hits the double swerve stomp right on it, like jumping right off the apron, right onto the ringside area in the left side, and made his leg go right through the the cinder block, like, which it crumbled right through his foot, like boom, and it was like, ah, my leg, like, ow, ow. And this is where referee's like, can you still wrestle the match? This is where Dustin Rhodes was insanely responding. Was insanely responding by saying, like, yes, I will do it. Like, I will do it. Not like so what? I'll be one leg short on this match, like, but still, like, I can still fight him with the leg that still works, like, that still can keep me up up off the ground, I should say. And then this is where the referee's like, okay, like, if you insist, like, this is where he gets up there. This is where he gets in the ring. This is where he hits. This is where Swerve Strickland tried to hit an attacking move when the match starts. But this is where Dustin Rhodes ducks out of the way, hits him with the crossroads right into the middle of the canvas, like, and he spiked his head right into the canvas, bouncing off. This is where he thought he got him, but he only got him at a 2.999999999999999 double triple nines and 0, which is a negative 0.1 away from being 3. And then Dustin Rhodes was like, what the hell? Like, I thought for sure that was it. And I was like, yeah, that's like, and it kind of reminded me almost like over a decade ago when he wrestled Randy Orton in that match to get him and his job back. Get him and his brother's job back in WWE in that storyline when it was the Brotherhood against Team Authority. But yeah, this is where Dustin Rhodes is still this is where he's still in pain from Swerve Strickland attacking his leg with that cinder block when he put that cinder right on his leg when he hit the double swerve stomp. This is where Dustin Rhodes tried to take try to do the easiest, try to go for the easiest move that he can find, which was the figure 4 that he could find. But that was the only thing he could find at the moment because his leg was distracting him like a bit too much to the point he was reconsidering of answering the referee's request that if he does he want to forfeit the contest or not. But this is where he tries to go for the figure 4. This is where Swerve Strickland pushes him out of the way, like making him go to the lower right corner. I'm not the left corner, the lower left corner. This is where he gets back up. This is where Swerve Strickland hits a rolling, like a flatliner, I should say. Yeah, hits this rolling flatliner right onto Dustin Rhodes. This is where he hits this sideways single leg Boston Crab onto Dustin Rhodes, which was, I believe, the same bad leg, the left leg that got demolished by getting hit with that cinder block. This is where he started bending it back more, trying to break his leg. This is where Dustin Rhodes was like, no, I will not surrender. No, I will not surrender. I'm not tapping out for you. That's the least what I can do. And then this is where he's like, this is where Swerve Strickland was like, okay, like, if you insist, this is where he started putting the very same leg he's bending, like, into that single leg Boston Crab, putting it in the back of his head, to move that Cody Rhodes did to Triple H back 14 years ago. This is where he started bending it back. This is where what's his name? Dustin Rhodes finally got onto the top corner bottom rope and grab onto it to get a rope break. This is where the referee's like, all right, Swerve, he's on the ropes, like, it's time for rope break, or you have to make me no choice to count to 5. And then this is where Swerve's like, all right, fine, like sugar honey iced tea. Like, this is where Swerve Strickland started kicking Dustin Rhodes' arms and his hands. This was like, what you gonna do about it, old man? Like you should might as well mind your business and get ready to retire, just like Sting. And then this is where he starts slapping him around. This is where Dustin Rhodes hit an uppercut, right to Swerve's head. This is where Strong answers back with a right hand. This is where Dustin Rhodes was like, you think you're all that? Bring on more. I can handle it. And this is where he started hitting right hands right back to back onto Dustin Rhodes. He's like, like, come on, what? And that's all you got. And this is where he hits a big boot right into his head. This is where it was on his knees. This is where he turned around and gave him the double fingers, like the double middle fingers, I should say, to be the exact. This is where Swerve Strickland was like, did he just put them fingers on me? And this is where he put the middle finger. He said the words that meant that the meaning of the F word. I mean, not the meaning of the middle finger. I should say, yeah, which is the F word. Like he said, yeah, FYOU, if you know what I mean. If what you mean, if you understand what that stands for. Right, what the middle finger stands for. He said that, but this is where he gets hit with a double missile drop kick by Swerve Strickland. This is where he got back on his knees. Swerve Strickland rolled right into the middle, onto the not the middle, the upper left-hand corner turnbuckle. This is where he runs to him, hits that back leg heel of his foot kick right into the head. And this is where the fans start chanting, one more time, one more time, like one more time. I was like, what is the matter with you fans? He may be starting to be a fan favorite now, but that doesn't mean you encourage him to beat down poor Dustin Rhodes. Like, what did he ever did to you? And then this is where Swerve Strickland was like, nah, I got a better idea. This is where he bends Dustin Rhodes' left arm backwards right across his side and his hip and his back, and he stomped on it, bending it back right onto nearly dislocating it into right over his back. And this it looked totally worse and very painful than Shayna Baszler's foot stomps onto her opponent's arm. And this is where Swerve Strickland went right on the top rope, hits the swerve stomp right onto the head of Dustin Rhodes, goes for the pin, gets the 1, 2, 3, and he celebrates like being your winner of tonight's AEW World's in his #1 contest. And by the way, I want to give congratulations to the winners of this match, like Luchasaurus or Kill Switch, I should say, and Hook, and Timeless Tony Storm, and even Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and Mark Briscoe. I want to give all those individuals their respective congratulations of tonight's match, and also Swerve Strickland too. But yeah, what do you thought about this match, and what do you thought about being a change, like for the fact that Keith Lee wasn't there tonight? And again, what's your thoughts on what Keith Lee where he could possibly be for those who watched AEW Worlds In as well? Let me know in the comments down below. But next we got. This is where we got 8-man tag action. The second part, the second 8-man tag match of the night, perhaps, which was with Chris Jericho, his main man and his tag partner of the Sex Gods. What's his name? Sammy Guevara, and Sting and Darby Allin against Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Konosuke Takeshita and Big Bill, which I should have said Big Bill and Ricky Starks for the fact that they're AEW World Tag Team Champions. But yeah, and then Don Callis families, Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita. This is where it looked like it was about to start with Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. And I was like, wow, and before I begin, I'll say I'm surprised that Tony Khan easily allowed him to wrestle tonight for the fact that there was allegations against him online and social media about him having some kind of an affair, or not. I'm gonna say not an affair. I'll say rather than he did some misconduct on the former AEW women's star Kylie Ray. And I would say I'm not sure he would have been he wouldn't have been so confident of continuing this match with the former AEW World Champion. Not because he's guilty, it's because he's it's because that everybody's gonna be criticizing him, which I would say I don't think there was much critics in the AEW audience for tonight's AEW's World's End. There was rather than supporters, with him singing this song. Singing his theme song from his rock band Fozzy. That's his AEW theme song, which is Judas. which it made me start singing along with it too, because that song's very catchy. Like ever since he's been using that as his theme song back in 2019, I was like, why the heck not? Like this is very entertaining to hear. But anyway, this is where it start off with the Ocho, Chris Jericho, and Ricky Starks right in the match, but it looked like it was about to be. But he gave him the middle finger. He's like, whatever. Like I'm not gonna put up with you. This is where he start. This is where he'd start going to his corner. Tagged in Powerhouse Hobbs, the same guy that he's dedicating this match to his big mama, like aka his grandmother, of course. Like because like of him being in his first ever wrestling show with Chris Jericho being on there, like when he was a kid, and he claimed that he was very rude and disrespectful to him and his grandmother, which that's all part of his shtick. Like the reason why he hates Chris Jericho, of course. But anyway, this is where they start battling it out. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs he tried to go for a clothesline to Chris Jericho, but he ducks out of the way. This is where he runs right through the ropes. He did another duck. This is where he runs right to the right side. This is where he tried to go for a shoulder tackle, but this is where Powerhouse Hobbs beat him to it, hits him with a much stronger shoulder tackle. This is where he sends him right into the lower left corner, hits a big splash right onto Chris Jericho. This is where he tags in Big Bill. This is where he started hitting some nailing strikes onto the head. And I was like, wait, did Big Bill ever wrestle Chris Jericho in WWE? Like, oh yeah, it was when he was teaming with Enzo Amore when they were a team on Monday Night Raw, when they teamed up and they wrestled Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, when Kevin Owens and Jericho was in an alliance of the Canadian duo. But anyways, back to the match. This is where Big Bill tried to go for a big boot right onto Chris Jericho, but he ducks out of the way, hits some knife edge chops right into the chest of Big Bill, added himself to Gunther's list, which he's not trying to have anything to do with Gunther, but this is where, but he's gonna be added to the list, and Gunther probably want to fight him, whether if it be in an AEW or in a WWE ring. But anyway, this is where Jericho tags in Darby Allin. This is where he hits a springboard double missile drop kick or middle missile drop kick right onto the big man. This is where he sends him right to his corner into the bottom right. This is where Konosuke Takeshita tags himself in the match, trying to go for a top rope drop kick of his own, but Darby Allin moves out of the way. This is where he runs right into the left corner ropes. This is where he rolls. This is where Darby Allin hits a roll up right onto Konosuke Takeshita. This is where Aubrey Edwards count to one, count to two, but this is where he pushes him out of the way. This is where he hold on to the ropes, hits a lion salt right on the top, right onto the ropes, which I'm not sure if he's paying tribute to the former AEW World Champion and the former Y2J, but he just did the maneuver anyway, just to bring down the Japanese superstar. But this is where Takeshita kicks out of it. This is where he kicks out at 2.7 perhaps. This is where Darby Allin's like, damn it. This is where he placed him right onto Takeshita he placed him right onto the left corner ropes. This is where he Irish whip him from there. This is where Takeshita counters out of it. This is where Darby Allin tried to go springboard him right onto the right hand ropes, like to a springboard coffin drop. But this is where Konosuke Takeshita caught him in midair, pushes him right onto the top, the upper right corner. Hits him with that rolling German suplex. Perhaps he learned that maneuver from Chad Gable. Perhaps this is gonna make Chad Gable jealous. But this is where Darby Allin rolls out of it into a back foot. This is where he hits a big boot right into the face of Konosuke Takeshita. This is where he had him turned around and he was on his knees. This is where Darby Allin rolls over him into a somersault, hits him with a running missile drop kick right onto the lower left corner. After that, he hits a sunset flip, cold red sunset flip right into the middle ring, but only got him a 2.5 count. This is where Darby Allin went right on the top rope, and in that very same corner in the top. In the lower left corner, this is where Don Callis tried to distract Darby Allin. But Darby Allin confronting him, like saying, like, you better not try to do anything slick or else you're going to be ending up just like your client. And then this is where Konosuke Takeshita had plenty of time. He attacks him from behind. This is where he had him right on the top. This is where he had him on the top rope. This is where he put him. This is where Konosuke Takeshita had him and his reverse on the top rope in an avalanche maneuver position. This is where he hit him with a reverse fireman's carry, turned into a helicopter powerbomb kind of like maneuver on the top of like a avalanche helicopter powerbomb maneuver, slamming him right into the canvas. This is where he was grabbing on his back. Oh my God, like that. That was extremely agonizing, agonizingly bad. Like, even. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs was like, get me back in here. I want to teach this little boy a lesson. I'm trying to talk smack on my father, Don. And then this is where he gets the tag in. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs start hitting right and left hands under his corner in the bottom left corner to Darby Allin. Darby Allin was covering his head. He couldn't stand a chance. But Powerhouse Hobbs was still repeatedly hitting his lefts and rights right onto the Darby Allin. This is where Big Bill was stomping on his head, on Darby Allin's head when he was down onto the right corner, when Aubrey was distracted to Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where he tags in Big Bill. This is where Big Bill carries him up, like, and put him onto the upper right corner. Hits a nailing right hook right onto the midsection of Darby Allin. This is where he Irish whips him right to the bottom, right onto the bottom left corner. This is where it's a big clothesline right onto Darby Allin. This is where he tags in Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs got back in the match. This is where he picks him as the legal man. This is where he picks him up into a standing suplex maneuver. And this is where he slams him back first. This is where he tags in Big Bill. This is where they started playing baby swing with Darby Allin, like swinging him around like if he was like a 4-year-old kid or child, I should say. But it's like if they were if they were his parents, like you know, like how your parents would do, like if they play baby swing with you. That's how they were doing it, like with Big Bill grabbing onto Darby Allin's arms and Powerhouse Hobbs grabbing onto Darby Allin's legs, start swinging him around and tossed him onto the other side from the top right corner to the lower left corner of Rita the ring post, or not Rita the ring post, Tina the turnbuckle, I mean. And this is where Ricky Starks did his pose, like, yeah, like, absolutely. And this is where Konosuke Takeshita was like, what are you gonna do now, Darby? Like we're giving you the beating of your life. And this is where Ricky Starks got tagged in. This is where he tosses him right onto the lower left corner. This is where he's like, absolute. And then this is where he runs, try to go for a splash. This is where Darby Allin moves out of the way. He hits face first right on the turnbuckle. This is where he picks up Darby Allin, but Darby Allin hits a jawbreaker right onto the absolute Ricky Starks. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs starts stomping onto the back of Darby Allin. This is where Darby Allin was in more pain. This is where Ricky Starks was like, thank you, Powerhouse Will. Like, and it's a long time no see, like, as well. And this is where fans start chanting, "We want Sting, we want Sting," and then be the spoiler. I guess I could say Spencer the spoiler, but they just got Sting like after like this beatdown. But I'm gonna get to that in just a moment. But this is where he tags in Konosuke Takeshita. This is where he started beating him up right to the lower left corner, started hitting punches and chops, forearms. Like, even though it was silent but deadly, but not enough to be put in the Gunter list. I guess that's the other guy next to Sting that will never be onto the MV list. This is where he Irish whip him from the lower left corner to the upper right corner. This is where he tried to go charging at Darby Allin, but Darby Allin hits a boot right to the face of Takeshita. This is where he started trying to crawl right onto Sting, to his tag partner, Sting. This is where he tried to jump right over Takeshita, but he caught him in like 6 feet in the air. This is where, I don't know how he did that. This is where he started hanging on to him. This is where he's like, no, you don't. You're going to be right here. This is where This is where he tossed him right back into his corner. This is where Darby Allin went jumped right over him. Like this is where he tried to go for a sunset flip. This is where he rolled out. This is where Takeshita tried to grab him from under his legs. This is where he rolls out of it. Finally tags in Sting. This is where he started hitting right hands to Takeshita. Then this Ricky Starks. This is where he started hitting splash right onto Ricky Starks in the upper right corner of Tina the Turbo, and then the lower left corner to Takeshita. And then this is where Sting hits a double clothesline on both of them, lining them up and into right in front of him. This is where Sting hits a double clothesline to also the big man too, a Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where he had Big Bill right on the top rope playing Rocky on the ropey horsey. Like this was our roll, and this are bouncing right over and over and repeatedly. And I was like, it doesn't seem like that Big Bill and in the backstage, the other female backstage reporter, Lexi, won't be. Him and Lexi will not have any. Won't not have any kids, or should I say, a family, because his jewels are getting damaged by the Stinger. They're getting stinged, I should say, stinged by the Stinger. Like if he's a black and white bee, like a black and white striped bee, which those are very rare, of course. But anyways. But yeah, this is where he started rolling them up like boom, 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 like right onto his family jewels, which him and Lexi won't be starting a family anytime soon. This is where he started breaking the odds of Big Bill. This is where Sting was listening to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was like, "How about you get him? How about you get him and I get a wheel, okay?" And then this is where they did so. And then this is where they hit double splash right onto the big man, with Sting hitting the splash right onto Big Bill, and then Chris Jericho doing that to Powerhouse Hobbs right onto him, onto the top left corner and then the bottom right corner, like respectively. This is where Big Bill tried to go for a clothesline right onto the Sting, but this is where Chris Jericho started hitting right hands. But this is where Big Bill started hitting right hands to his face. This is where he rolled out of the ring. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs went out of the ring because Aubrey Harris was like, "You're not the legal one, Will, so you need to go to your corner." This is where, and then this is where the team Don Callis family and Ricky Starks and Big Bill team will regroup. This is where Takeshita tags in Ricky Starks. This is where he started hitting big right hands to the ribs and the midsection of Sting. This is where he twists on the arm. This is where he start trying to take a page out of his dream opponent's playbook, the Undertaker, of course, like he would start doing his version of it, like with him doing his absolute styling walk, like what he does, like when he has his opponent's arms and walking over the ropes, which I don't know how the wrestlers can do that such a maneuver. But yeah, he started doing that, started wiggling his hips until he hits him with the axe handle onto the left shoulder. This is where Irish whips Sting right into the left corner ropes. This is where he hits him with a flapjack. It was supposed to be right into the left ropes, but it got a botch. But he made up the botch and continues to stomp right onto the midsection of Ricky Starks. This is where Sammy Guevara gets tagged in by Sting, hits a clothesline right onto Ricky Starks, knocked down both Big Bill and Will Hobbs, which Will Hobbs was still hanging. But this is where he tried to get a spinning body slam. But this is where Ricky Starks rolled out of it, pushes Sammy Guevara right into the bottom left corner. This is where Ricky Starks tried to go for a splash, but I think he was double cursed because he rolled out of. But because Ricky Starks go out of the way when trying to go for a splash, he is face first in that very same corner turnbuckle. I believe that turnbuckle is cursed on top of him being double cursed. But anyway, this is where he was into the left-hand side of the ring apron. This is where he rolls back in the ring, try to go for a rolling cutter, looking like he was about to hit Grayson Waller's rolling stunner, but he got countered by Ricky Starks. This is where Ricky Starks countered, and it's a tornado DDT. But this is where Ricky Starks. He got countered by Sammy Guevara, and this is where he rolls out of it, got on the mid ropes, hits a mid rope cutter right on the top rope, and luckily did not mock Randy Orton like on his independent wrestling days. But anyways. It was a guaranteed, though, but it was a guaranteed. And I know before you start criticizing, but the first time was a springboard. Like Does that even matter? Like, it's the same move, but in a different way. Like, so it counts as a guaranteed because considering it's the same move, but in a different way, he's executing it. But still, that's still part of the rules in professional wrestling / sports entertainment. But anyway, this is where he hits the maneuver right onto Ricky Starks. This is where Aubrey Edwards go for a pin, but this is where Big Bill saves his tag partner, picks him up, looking like he's about to hit a German suplex right on the Ricky Starks. But really, he started trying to go for like a Nelson hold lock. But this is where Sammy Guevara started hitting elbows right into the head of Big Bill, hitting knife edge chops also in the process, pissing off Gunther even more than anybody in AEW right now. But I'll say it wasn't the last time we do see some chops being involved on tonight's contest in All Elite Wrestling and on World's End, of course. This is where Big Bill this is where he tried to run right into the bottom corner ropes. This is where he hits a big boss man slam, like when Sammy Guevara run right through the bottom ropes and try to go straight towards Big Bill, but he'd spin him around and slammed him to the ground. He's like, yeah. That's why we're the #1 tag team. And this is where Chris Jericho, he's like, more than Enzo ever been, more than I ever been with Enzo. This is where Chris Jericho hits the code breaker right out of nowhere. Boom. He was like, you may be the #1 tag team, but he's like, you're not better than Chris Jericho. Like, not in AEW, not in WWE, not nowhere in professional wrestling. That's what Jericho looked like when he hit him with that code breaker out of nowhere. And this is where Big Bill was still standing. He was like, "Oh, you want to bet?" And this is where he grabbed onto Jericho's neck, pick him up. And he's like, "This is for Kylie Ray." And then this is where he hits a double claw choke slam. But this is where Chris Jericho rolled out of it. This is where Big Bill tried to grab on his legs. This is where he started hitting right hands right onto the head of Jericho, right on the side and the front of his head. This is where he was like, all right, I think I got him back down. This is where he picks up Jericho. This is where he Irish whips him right onto the bottom left corner. But this is where he tried to run and charge at him. But Jericho hits a double drop kick right onto the head, hits him with a and he go right up on the mid top rope and hits him with a missile drop kick. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs hits the double A spine buster as soon as he gets back in. He took off his onesie suspenders off. This is where he was like, he's like, the straps come down, and I need to finish him once and for all for me and my big mama. And this is where he hits a big World's Strongest Slam, thinking he's the AEW version of Mark Henry, like a new modern AEW version of Mark Henry. This is where he tried to go for another one, but Darby Allin saved Jericho by when he tried to go for a second time, which it wasn't a guaranteed. But Darby Allin did got a guaranteed with a springboard coffin drop because the second time was a dud, but this time was a success. Like with him being distracted to Jericho of hitting him with a second World's Strongest Slam, Darby Allin hits a springboard coffin drop right onto him, saving Jericho with him landing on top of Powerhouse Hobbs as well. This is where Darby Allin goes right, stalking Powerhouse Hobbs in the ring, crawling and spinning around. And this is where he catches him right in front of him. This is where he tried to go. This is where he rolls over him and hits a scorpion death drop right on the Powerhouse Hobbs. And this is where Konosuke Takeshita finally got a guaranteed German suplex on the Darby Allin, which they were telling the story by doing so with guaranteed second chance finishing maneuvers. This is where Sting weighed in, like when Konosuke Takeshita was about to hit him with a move, or no, it wasn't Sting, it was Sammy Guevara, like because he was like, "I'm gonna crush you like the twig that you are, Darby Allin." That's what he said, like that to Darby Allin when he was down into the upper left or upper right, not left, upper right corner. This is where Sammy Guevara comes in there. This is where he tried to go for a German suplex, but this is where Konosuke Takeshita rolled out of it. This is where he grabbed onto both him and Darby Allin, like lining them up into a layer of a double German suplex attempt, which he successfully did so right onto both Guevara and Darby Allin. This is where Konosuke Takeshita went face to face to Sting. This is where Sting tried to go for a big boot, but this is where Takeshita ducks out of the way. This is where he runs right onto the left corner side. This is where Sting Irish whip him on the right side. This is where Takeshita hits him with the knee strike right into the face out of nowhere. This is where Sting was he tripped and stumbled and ran right through the left corner ropes, hanging on so he can catch his balance. This is where Konosuke Takeshita tried to go for a second time, but obviously it wasn't a guaranteed because he already did the maneuver at first, which it successfully executed, even though Sting was still standing, but it still worked. But it did not bring him down to the ground. But this is where he tried to go for a second time, but Sting grabbed onto that very knee and his other leg and brought him down to the ground. This is where he tried to hit him with his famous submission move in professional wrestling, which is the Scorpion Deathlock, which he got locked in. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs tried to save the day and try to help his Don Callis family ally, but Chris Jericho stopped him before he could do anything. Before that, it was Don Callis. He grabbed onto the baseball bat, grabbed on Sting's baseball bat, and he must have triggered Sting because he started staring at him and gave him that mugging look like he was about to murk him for touching his back. He was like, Don, you better give me that bat back or I will kill you with it. This is where he gave back. Okay, I'm not trying to start no trouble. I was just messing with you. And I was like, and this is where he's like, yeah, I bet. And this is where he grabbed onto his bat, put it on the side. This is where he rolled out of the ring. This is where Sting tried to finish what he started, which was the Scorpion Death Lock. But this is where Powerhouse Hobbs tried to stop him. But this is where Chris Jericho grabs on him, hit the walls of Jericho right on the Powerhouse Hobbs, right in the right side of the ring, while Sting in the left side hits a big clobbering right hand right into the jaw of Konosuke Takeshita. Finished off with the Scorpion Deathlock right onto Konosuke Takeshita. They had nowhere else to go. They were in the submission. But this is where Ricky Starks, if it had been for Ricky Starks, or else we would have saw them won this match right then and there. But this is where Ricky Starks hits the super kick right onto the head of Chris Jericho. And then this is where he hits repeated left hands to Sting to stop him from making him tap out. But this is where Sting hits a right hand right onto him on the third time he tried to go for a left strike. This is where Sting hit the Scorpion Death Drop. He tried to go for a Scorpion Death Drop, but this is where Big Bill hits a big boot right into the face of Sting, right out of the ring. Right into the right in the middle of the ring, I should say. This is where Darby Allin tried to go for a crossbody right onto Big Bill, but he's like, nope, not today. No way, Jose. This is where he grabbed him around his neck. Tosses him throwing him like if he's some kind of a twiggy rag doll and place him right onto the upper right corner of Tina in the turnbuckle. This is where he tried to go for a splash, but this is where he hits him with a try to go for a diving splash, going right onto Darby Allin, but he hits face first right onto Tina the turnbuckle. This is where he was outside the ring, but Darby Allin hits a drop kick right out, make him go on the top corner on the outside. This is where he hits a suicide dive right onto onto Big Bill. This is where he hits a suicide dive right on the Big Bill, making him go face first right on the barricade. This is where Sammy Guevara's like, now's my time to shine. This is where he runs right through the bottom ropes. This is where he tried to go for the top rope and try to get Ricky Starks. But this is where he intercepted him, hits him with the absolute spear, backs to the head, spear, grab him down in the ring. This is where he goes for the pinfall. But he only got a 2.9999999999999. It was so close. He was so close to beating him with that spear. It made to the point when Sammy Guevara kicks out, he was very pissed off. He was like, no, he was not supposed to kick out. That's what Ricky Starks was looking like when Sammy Guevara kicked out of it right before the referee can even count to 3 or even place her hand right on the mat. But anyway, this is where Ricky Starks put him right onto his shoulders into a reverse, right into a reverse fireman's carry, slamming him to a face buster, looking like a KOD. Let's hope that he won't be added to Bianca Belair's envy list. But anyways, this is where I go for a pin, but still the same results. Like if he's going around the same mountain. But Ricky Starks was very pissed off. He's like, enough of this nonsense and these shenanigans. Like I'm about to pull out the big guns. And this is where he tried to go. This is where he tried to go for a razor's edge like a powerbomb maneuver. But this is where Sammy Guevara hits a super kick right onto the face of or the jaw of Starks. This is where Sammy Guevara had his back right on the shoulders, hit him with the GTH right into the right in the ring, face first into the ground. This is where Sammy Guevara went right on the top rope. I believe he hit the 630 splash, I believe. Yeah, he hit the 630 splash. Or no, it was a shooting star press. And then this is where he hits the shooting star press and got the 1-2-3 for him and his teammates, Jericho, Sting, and Darby Allin. And your winners of tonight's second 8-man tag match of this night is Sting, Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara. And what's your thoughts on tonight's 8-man tag match, the second match from the Continental Classic participants in that 8-man tag match on the beginning of the pay-per-view? Let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, congratulations to Guevara, Jericho, and Sting and Darby Allin for their latest victory. And also, like Big Bill tried to stop Sammy Guevara from pinning him, but I believe Chris Jericho or Darby Allin was stopping him from getting back in the ring. But yeah, those are your winners of tonight's latest edition of that tonight. The winner. That was your winner of the 8-man tag match, which we're going to move on to the next match, which I believe it's for the TBS Championship, which was Julia Hart taking on Abaddon. But this is where Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara picks up Sting and Darby Allin. They shook hands with each other. Like you did one massive hell of a job. Thank you for being our teammates for this match against Ricky Starks, Big Bill, and the Don Callis family. And this is where they start clapping, like pre-cheers for the guys who helped them out and been their teammates for tonight's 8-man tag match. And everybody started giving a upstanding and a positive ovation to the Stinger, because it is going to be his farewell retirement tour with him wrestling all over the states, like before his retirement in March of 2024, which that's like less than 3 months away. But who do you think? But again, who's going to be his opponent for his retirement match at AEW Revolution? Let me know down in the comments below. Which I cannot believe, like he's been wrestling like in AEW since like 2021, like March of 2021's Revolution, and he will retire on 2024's Revolution. Which I hope I can get to watch that pay-per-view next with like getting it on Bleachers Report. Bleachers Report, yeah, of course. Hopefully in March I'll be able to watch this. Watch AEW's pay-per-view again and make my second ever AEW pay-per-view review. But who knows? Stay tuned until March, so to see what could happen next about that. But this is where Sting started high-fiving all the fans around the arena, as a thank you for all the fans for watching and being entertained and invested to him. Yeah, of course. But up next, we got Julia Hart and Abaddon, which Abaddon was charged at Julia Hart, start hitting right hands, banging across her head, right onto to what's her name, Julia Hart. This is where she's like, I am not going to stop until I'm finished with her. When I absolutely annihilate her and eat her for dinner because I am a zombie. And then this is where Abaddon grabs onto Julia Hart, but Julia Hart started escaping, start hitting rights and lefts right onto the midsection of Abaddon. This is where she start running right towards the right corner ropes, run right there, trying to go for a running attack move, but she got caught right in the middle with Abaddon. This is where she had her into a. This is where she had her into a. This is where she had her in a power slam position, but she swung her around right on her back. Looked like she was about to hit her with some kind of a like some kind of a Piper's Pit slam. But this is where Julia Hart took a page out of Becky Lynch's playbook and hits the crucifix slam right onto the back of Abaddon, trying to go for a roll-up victory. But Aubrey Edwards counted the one, she counted the two, but she kicks out at two even. This is where Julia Hart starts staring at her like, you think you're the only creepy individual in AEW? Like, think again, Abaddon. Look like if she's some kind of a twisted Banshee sister, I guess you could call her. But this is where Abaddon starts saying, like, I was the most creepiest woman in AEW until you came along with this dark supernatural persona. You're like, and I am going to eat you alive for trying to be like me. And then she was like, well, you gotta, God. And this is where Julia Hart was like, well, you gotta bring me down in order for you to do that. And this is where she hits a forehead shove right across Abaddon's head. She was like she did not just do that to me. How about I do this to her with my claws? And she basically just clawed her whole entire face with that shove right onto her face. This is where Julia Hart started choking onto her like if she's about to do a choke slam. But this is where Abaddon grabbed onto her neck with her hands and started choking her. And this is where they started trying to see who could choke their opponents more harder than the other. And this is where Julia Hart won the contest, and she pushed her right onto the ground. This is where, or not on the ground, more like the canvas. This is where she started pushing her over, turning her around into her back, belly up in the air. This is where she started hitting right hands into a Luthez press kind of punch maneuver onto Abaddon. This is where she put her foot right onto the neck of Abaddon. This is where Aubrey Edwards was like, hey, like don't be too much now, Julia. Like, even though she's not near the ropes, but that doesn't mean that there's no DQ. That doesn't mean there's no DQ into this contest. So you gotta play everything that's on the rules of the match stipulation. Yeah. But anyway, this is where Julia Hart's like, all right, fine. And this is where she started repeatedly hitting her axe handles, but in a more fair kind of way. Like, start hitting axe handles repeatedly, but in a way that give enough time for Abaddon to try to hit her blow. This is where Julia Hart Irish whip Abaddon back first, right onto the hardest part of the ring. The left side of the hardest part of the ring apron, more harder than my nephew's tea kettle. See, like not even it didn't even hurt as harder than a rock. But anyways, yeah. But the apron was more harder than that. My point is which that's just a plastic toy of one of my nephews. But his little toy tea cup. This is where Julia Hart went right back in the ring. This is where she fixed her hair, and this is where she was like, she doesn't mind if she gets a count-out victory because regardless, she'll still be AEW TBS champion, which fortunately that did not happen. Abaddon managed to get out back in the ring halfway till 10. The count of 10, I should say, not the time. I would say 10, like the 10 count, yeah, before the count of 10. This is where she kicked her back out in the ring. This is where Julia Hart's like, come on, get back in. And this is where Julia Hart's like, yeah, get back in the ring in the sarcastic manner. This is where Aubrey Edwards was like, come on, like, you got it. Like, this is where she's like, all right, like, she's back in the ring. Like, she broke the count. This is where she started climbing onto Julia Hart. This is where Julia Hart started hitting right hands right onto the face and the back in the head of Abaddon. This is where Abaddon tried to fight back with some right hands of her own. But Julia Hart grabs on her in a headlock, squeezing her face and her throat right onto the left corner ropes into the middle ropes. And this is where she probably put in her leg and start tying it wrapped around her neck and her head of the ropes. This is where Julia Hart tried to go for that leg swing and kick right onto the Abaddon, but she moved her face right out of the way, out of the ropes. But she grabs onto her. She bends her head right onto the top rope in the outer part, with her being tangled in between the middle and the top rope, like an in and outside of the ropes. And she bends face first right onto the ropes. This is where Julia Hart goes like ow, like that really is painful, but I'm not gonna let it be a distraction of me finishing off this molded zombie, this molded harlot, if I would say, to describe what she would think of her as, like a molded zombie harlot, I guess, for the fact that her hair's green, like if it's been molded and it's been dried out, for her being like formerly known like a human period. But anyway, this is where Julia Hart tried to grab onto the hair of Abaddon, but Abaddon used Julia Hart's arm, one of her arms, as an advantage by biting onto it, because she is a zombie and she wouldn't be hesitant of eating it, like, because she is a zombie. Well, in kayfabe, she's the zombie. I'm not sure much about her reality is, but all I know is her wrestling persona. But anyway, she started biting on her arm, like, ah, and this made Julia Hart scream like, ah, let go. And then this is where she did let go, and this is where Julia Hart tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where she started continuing to bite on that arm when she tried to go for a clothesline. This is where she bit on it so hard, I believe it had some marks right onto her left wrist. This is where Abaddon started hitting clotheslines right onto Julia Hart, and afterward hit the flying back elbow strike right onto the head of Julia Hart. This is where she hits a running knee, double knees to the face, right into the upper left corner of Tina Turnbuckle, when she was sitting on the bottom turnbuckle. This is where Abaddon hits a flying monkey flip face breaker, like when Julia Hart was on her knees, but she only got a 2.99999 count. This is where Abaddon was in shock, saying like, that was 2. Like, how in the hell can that be 2? Like, that's impossible, extremely impossible. This is where she goes right up on top of the ropes on the upper left corner. This is where Julia Hart goes right up on the top rope, counters whatever top rope maneuver what Abaddon was having planned, but this is where Abaddon started hitting right hands right onto the back of Julia Hart, but this is where Julia Hart was continuing hitting axe handles on her own repeatedly and started an elbow drop until she got her finally right on the top rope, like where she wanted her, trying to hit a top rope suplex on the Abaddon, which she successfully did so. This is where she goes for a pin on the Abaddon, but Abaddon kicks out at 2.8. This is where Julia Hart's like, no freaking way. Like, it just cannot get any more better than this. Like, sarcastically speaking, of course. This is where she runs right through the top rope. This is where she hits Indy Hartwell's finishing maneuver, which is that sliding clothesline, snapmare clothesline from behind, like from the back of Abaddon. Like, which let's hope that Indy Hartwell herself does not get envious, like Gunther with his chops. But anyways, this is where Julia Hart goes for a hammer, like looked like she was going for some kind of a grounded hammerlock submission maneuver, but it was the Heartless that she put on, like where she had her into this like abdominal stretch crossface like maneuver, like Pac or Neville, formerly known as Neville in AEW, but the Bastard Pac in AEW, like. but this is where she grabbed onto her right arm, and this is where she grabbed onto her left arm, like where it was near where her head is, and this is where she started hitting the Heartless right onto Abaddon, trying to make her tap and trying to retain her AEW TBS championship. But this is where Abaddon rolled out of it, rolled her over into a pinfall, but only got a 2.2 count. This is where Abaddon tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where Julia Hart hits a rolling, twisting underhook, like underhook, like maneuver. This is where she tried Irish whip Abaddon right onto the right corner ropes, but Abaddon counters out of it. This is where she catches her right into a power slam position. This is where she swings around into some kind of a twisting Uranagi slam. And this is where she runs right through the in the right corner ropes with Julia Hart's knees when she was down on her knees. And it's that sliding kick like if she's Zoe Stark. This is where she goes for a pin, but this is where Julia Hart kicks out at 2.9999999999999 double triple nines and a negative 0.1 away from being 3. This is where Abaddon goes right on the top rope. This is where Julia Hart hits a striking right elbow right onto the face of Abaddon, but this is where Abaddon hits a right forearm right to her head. This is where she started biting on it, but because she want to have her for dinner, which I'm not sure if that'll be possible. I'm not sure if they're gonna pull that off, like of having Julia Hart being served on a silver platter. But anyway, this is where Mater got her off of her. This is where she went right in the middle of the ring. This is where Abaddon regained her consciousness of being on the top rope. But this is where Sky Blue came out of nowhere, where the referee was at least expecting her. And this is where Sky Blue came out of nowhere, pushed her right off the top rope. This is where she helped Julia Hart out. This is where she hits her finishing maneuver. Got the 1, 2, 3. Still your AEW TBS champion, Julia Hart. Even though it was by a dirty finish, but I gotta admit she did. But before Sky Blue helped her out by doing a cheap shot, she did gave Abaddon one hell of a fight. Like I gotta admit, like she did gave her like a run for her money, and same with Abaddon giving that right back to Julia Hart respectively. Like, but what's your thoughts on this match? Do you think was it booked by Tony Khan, or do you think it should have been better when it comes to storytelling in inside the squared circle when there's a grappling match on? I would say not just in general, but in this match particular. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what's your thoughts on that. But anyways, this is where Sky Blue pushes Abaddon out of the ring. They celebrated a little bit, and I'll say, but yeah, once again, congratulations to Julia Hart of retaining her AEW TBS championship. And what you guys are thinking, who's going to be Julia Hart's next opponent in AEW with her reign as TBS champion? Let me know down in the comments down below. And something just tells me she's going to hold that title for at least the first half of 2024 until somebody that is more dominant than she is, like that's in the women's mid-card division, that's like a baby face that I'll say not just easily, but just that could be the one that can dethrone her by being more of a powerful woman in all elite wrestling, at least in the TBS division. But anyway, this is where we got Adam Copeland against Christian Cage in a Adam Copeland against Christian Cage for the AEW TNT champion, the brother of the TBS championship. Like, of course they would do it because those are the two mid-card championships and the siblings of the All Elite Wrestling Championship belt family. But anyways, this is where Christian Cage grabs on a steel pipe right onto the Adam Copeland. Like, once they took this onto the outside, like, because Adam Copeland was not waiting for Christian Cage to get in the ring to fight him, because he went right onto the ramp and started beating the absolute living sugar honey iced tea out of him and hitting him right through barricade. And then they start brawling it out and going back and forth, like in there, out there and in there, and then this is where they got in the ring. This is where Christian Cage tried to do some more damages to Adam Copeland, but this time with a small silver metal pipe. But this is where Adam Copeland hits the Atomomatic right onto Christian Cage. But this is where Adam tried to go grab onto the kendo stick that was in the ring. This is where Christian Cage tried to grab on it, but it was too late because Adam Copeland beat him to it, grabbing onto it. This way he puts it up in the midair. It's like, all right, look who got the kendo stick now. And this way he started whacking Christian Cage back with the said kendo stick. This is where he started repeatedly doing so, right onto the Captain of Charisma repeatedly. And this is where Nigel McGuinness's idiotic self starts saying he's doing it right in front of his son. Like, why are you making it sound like if he's the victim? Like when he's the one, when Christian Cage is the one that's setting up Adam Copeland and even attacking him dishonestly, I would say, yeah. So why are you making him seem like the victim, like when he's the one that's causing the trouble, like between this friendship, like inside the ring, of course, yeah. I was like, I guess I'm right about you, Nigel. Like, you used to be more cooler than this, whether if you were in the original Ring of Honor or even as a commentator with Marlo Ronaldo in NXT. But now you're starting to be like the Corey Graves of AEW. But anyways, this is where like, it's already bad enough you had to steal my nickname for Sky Blue as Sky Black, which is, even though it's an obvious term to use, but still, I was the one that started all of this in the internet wrestling community. But anyways, we're going to continue with Adam Copeland whacking him with that kendo stick until he got him into the middle of the ring. This is where he had him in a crossface. Like, we could see a very clear wounded head of Adam Copeland in the left side, with him being cut up like onto this left side of his forehead. But he still was doing the crossface right onto Christian Cage. Like, they got locked in. This is where Christian Cage started grabbing onto that steel made that wrench, I believe. It was like that little skinny wrench. But this is where Adam Copeland grabbed onto it. Like, he grabbed onto it and snatched it from Christian Cage, put it around his mouth, and did a crossface that way, looking like he did the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns when he wrestled him in his respective matches with those two. Like, when he had crossfaces on them, with taking off the bottom piece of the steel chair, like that pole piece, that small pole, and put it around their mouth and start doing a crossface that way. That's what it looked like when Adam Copeland did the Christian Cage, which I believe he's like the third ever wrestler he did that to, like, in his career overall in professional wrestling. This is where Christian Cage like, nah, like, no. And this is where Adam Copeland's like, not until you surrender. This is where Christian Cage grabs onto the ropes into the bottom corner. This is where Christian Cage like, safe at last. Like, I thought I would never make it. This is where Adam Copeland say like, nope, like, I'm not gonna let it go that easy. And this is where Adam Copeland also realized like, why he's grabbing onto the ropes, like when it's not even a no rope, when there's no rope breaks involved. This is where Nick Wayne started checking on Christian Cage. He's like, "Are you okay, like, man?" Like, this is where Christian Cage like, "Yes, like, I just need to teach this son of a gun a lesson of trying to kill me." And then this is where Adam Copeland was like, I got a ladder right here. Like, I wonder what I can do with this. Like, even though we're not climbing the retrieve a championship, but I'm gonna use it for my benefit of. I'm gonna use this as my benefit as a weapon into this no disqualification match, which he wedged it right to the middle, right between the middle ropes or middle turnbuckles onto the upper left corner of the corner team of the turnbuckle. Here's where Christian Cage try to attack him right through that exact corner, but this is where Adam Copeland counters out of it, trips him over down right beneath the wedge ladder, right onto that same corner, and hits him with a catapult or a slingshot face first right onto the steel structure of the ladder. And then this is where Nick Wayne's mother, Shayna Wayne, started checking on Christian Cage. She was like, "Are you okay, my little my little honey doodle?" Like, I was like, "Please don't, please not do a on-screen couple. Please, Tony Khan, do not do another on-screen romantic couple storyline in All Elite Wrestling. Hopefully." Hopefully, Nick Wayne start playing the role as the jealous son that's being jealous of Christian Cage of being in that situation, which of him being with his mother, and he does not like that. He's like, I may want you as my mentor, but not my stepfather or whatever, whatever the case may be. But I was like, even if they did do that storyline, hopefully it'll end up that way, and the angle will not last for long, like every other romance angles that's not real, I would say. But anyways, this is where Adam Copeland set up the ladder. This is where Christian Cage grabbed onto the kendo stick, hit him in the midsection, like swinging it right onto into the stomach of the Rated R superstar. Here's where he hits the reverse DDT, which I assume that's a signature move, because that used to be his signature move in WWE. But anyway, this is where he goes up right on the top of the ladder, I believe, and try to go for a diving maneuver. And then this is where Adam Copeland went right onto the top of the cage before he could have a chance to dive right onto him. This is where he started whacking on his hands, tried to whack on his head, which Christian Cage barely got some offense of his own, only a couple at least. This is where Adam Copeland started hitting right hands and lefts back and forth. This is where he tried to go for a suplex right on top onto the ladder. This is where Christian Cage was trying to counter out of the suplex, but this is where Copeland was not letting go until Christian Cage finally started getting his way by hitting him a dozen more times and hitting him face first right onto the top of the ladder, which gave Christian Cage enough time to regain his try to regain some energy to try to go for a sunset flip right off the top of the ladder, hitting a sunset flip in the process right onto Adam Copeland. This is where they both went down onto the ground. This is where Christian Cage was like, I need to get the pin immediately. But even for a count of 1 and 2, not 2, like before the referee could even count the 2, it was 1.999. Well, excuse me for a second. Yeah, Birdie Bird. Yeah, in just one moment. I got a couple more matches left to review, and I'm glad we get some eating for baby and mom and daddy. Yeah. But anyways, back to the review. This is where Christian Cage throws the ladder outside the ring. This is where he go back under the ring to try to find a different weapon with his protege and prodigy protege Nick Wayne. Which he helped Christian Cage out by pulling a big, another bigger weapon out, which was none other than the second best, biggest weapon in all of pro wrestling, the tables. Like if they were the Dudley Boys, like get the tables, and then this is where the fans start cheering. Like that's where the fans were cheering, like because they always want tables at a wrestling event, especially when it's a no disqualification stipulated match. And this is where helping Christian Cage set up. This is where Nick Wayne helped Christian Cage set up the tables to put up on, for Adam Copeland to be get slammed on. And this is where Christian Cage started grabbing on to Adam Copeland. This is where he tried to go for a suplex right onto Adam, but this is where Adam was like, nope, like I'm not gonna let you do this to me. Like, no, like I'm not gonna allow you to slam me right, or not just a slam, but ordinary slam. You're not gonna suplex me right through the tables. Like, absolutely not. Like this is where Adam Copeland runs right through the. This is where Adam Copeland tried to go for a running spear, like right when he got out of the suplex, like running through the right corner ropes to the left corner and through the right between the middle and top rope, like into a trying to go for a spear right off the apron, but Christian Cage moved out of the way. This is where Adam Copeland slowed down and stopped. And he was like, you know what? And this is where Adam Copeland followed him right into the bottom corner of the ringside area. This is where he kicks him right in the back of the leg. This is where Trey, you be careful. But anyway, this is where Adam Copeland grabbed on the steel. Trey, you gotta play it right here. Trey, be careful. But anyway, this is where Adam Copeland throws Christian Cage back in the ring. This is where he got the steel chair in his hand. This is where he whacked Christian Cage in the back first when he was on his knees, and brought him down onto the well, he did not just yet. This is where Adam Copeland hits the impaler right onto the. No, Trey, you can't be pushing none of these buttons. But this is where he hits the impaler right onto Christian Cage, right through the steel chair. Oh, that's not gonna do anything, Trey. You play with your little Mack truck. Come on. Anyway, this is where he tried to go for a pinfall right onto Christian Cage. This is where Aubrey Edwards, was it? Well, not Aubrey Edwards. It was another referee. It was one of the male referees. This is where Adam Copeland had him in a concerto position, like after he did the impaler, like face first right into the steel chair. This is where he kept him right in his face right on the steel chair, like before he went for any pinfalls. Up next, this is where he tried to grab. This is where he grabs on the steel chair, like right beside him, like which. Trey, you cannot be doing that. It's not gonna do anything. Trey, you, no. No, it's not gonna do anything. Find something to play with in here. Don't be messing with the computer now. No. I see something. Yeah, you see something? You see your Snoopy? Mommy, I want to watch it. Oh, you want to watch it? Yeah. Do I got any I want a dog for Christmas around here? We're a dog. Yeah. We're out. If this is gonna messing with anything, like I'll probably put it on. No, don't. Anyway, this is where he goes for a no, Trey. Trey, calm down. No, stop. Don't Trey. Trey, you. I'm just trying. Oh, bother. You want your Buzz Lightyear? No. Fine. Here you go, Trey. You. Oh, bother.
I'll tell Julian I'm eating his food if you don't come out here.
Yes, sir. I'll be right out. But anyways, this is where he tried to go for a concerto, but Nick Wayne stole the steel chair right out of his hands. This is where he chased him out of there. Well, this is where he got too distracted because it helped out Christian Cage to get back up. He low blowed him with the steel chair right onto the. Low blowed him right onto the. Low blowed him right with the steel chair that he had right under his face. And then this is where he grabs him into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. This is where he kicks out at 2.9999999999999, double triple nines, minus 0.1 away from being 3. This is where he grabs on one of the tables onto the right onto in the ringside area in the left side. This is where he wedged it up right onto the I'll say the top left corner. This is where he tried to pick up Adam Copeland. This is where he grabbed on the steel chair in the middle of the ring, but he not grab, he pushed it out of the way with his foot. This is where he was getting ready to hit the spear, right? Waiting for him to turn around so he can hit the maneuver right onto his former best friend, on-screen former best friend, I should say. But this is where Christian Cage is like, come on, spear. This is where he tried to go for a spear. This is where he tried to go for the spear, but this is where Adam Copeland dodges by hitting a leapfrog right over Christian Cage. This is where he went right onto the table, but this is where Adam Copeland throws the steel chair right into his face, like boom, whack right in his head, like if it was Looney Tunes. This is where Adam Copeland throws it again, face first, throwing it. This is where he get ready to hit the spear. He's like, spear. And he speared him right to the wedge table he had that Christian Cage had planned for Adam, but it turned out it backfired on him. When both of them were crashing right through the table that was wedged right into the upper left corner. Fans were clapping, was like, this is awesome. They started clapping like, this is awesome. I'll say this will be the third match of the night, but what happened at the did not really make any sense. And this is where the 2 + 2 = potatoes begin. After the match, of course. But anyways, but I would say the third match of the night definitely belongs to who was it? The Jericho, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara and Sting versus Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Tenosuke Takeshita match. But this is where the referee tried to count to 1, tried to count to 2. But Shayna Wayne was like, nope, like you're not going to count this win so my son's mentor will lose his title. And then this is where the referee's like, what? Like you're not supposed to even be out here. You're not even in the match. So why are you doing out here? Like I know it's a no DQ match, but still, like you're not even in the match. So what's the point of you interfering? Like if you're not going to do much about it, like unless you're going to cost Adam the match. This is where Adam Copeland did not give a damn if she was a woman because he was about to give exactly what he gave to his own best friend, Christian, in the ring. He was like you just nearly cost me my championship match once again, like for the second time in a row. Like I was nice at first because I thought you were going to help me. But I'm not going to give no mercy to you this time. And this is where Shayna Wayne was like, yeah, I know that, like, but don't take it easy now. This is where Nick Wayne was came from behind and whacked him with the TNT Championship from behind the back of his head. He's like, leave my mother alone. And then it's where he started beating up Adam. This is where he goes right on the top rope, and this is where he tried to go for like a mid rope or top rope cutter, but this is where Adam Copeland enters. This is where Adam, no, he hit him with the cutter. He hit him with the cutter right into the ground. This is where Nick Wayne picks up Adam. This is where he tried to throw him back in the ring so Christian Cage could retain his TNT Championship. But despite this, and also Christian Cage taking advantage, of them interfering against Adam Copeland, and what Christian Cage afterwards hits this kill switch finishing maneuver. He's still kicked out at 2.999999999 double triple nine, which is negative 0.1 away from being 3. And this is where Taz was this man's never gonna kick out because he's been in a lot of big matches. He's well experienced of those particular matches, and nothing's not gonna bring down this dozen-time world champion. And this is where Christian Cage is like, what to do now? He will not quit and will not give up and just give me this, let me get this win with his TNT Championship. This is where he calls for Nick Wayne. He was like, hey, Nick, I need you to get something for me out into under this steel steps, which there was some and this is where Nigel McGuinness is like, they're not gonna be roasting marshmallows. I was like, that's the most funniest thing I have heard Nigel McGuinness said in his commentary, in his whole entire commentary career. With them grabbing onto the matches and the lighter gun and some lighter fluid of swirling it around through the table, trying to light up the table. This is where they start heating it up and start moistening the table so they can get ready to be triple flammable. Yeah, I would say. And this is where before they can have a chance to complete that goal, this is where he gets back in the ring. This is where he makes sure to get Adam ready so he can slam him in the flammable table. This is where Christian Cage tried to go for the kill switch, I believe, or no? What am I talking about? No, he wasn't trying to go for. He was getting ready to try to throw him through the table, but this is where he tried to grab onto Nick, and this is where they finally completely burned the table right into the left corner of the ringside area. This is where Adam Copeland. This is where Adam Copeland, this is where he tried to throw him right through the table, but Adam Copeland turned him around, hits him with the spear right on the Christian Cage. This is where he knocks out Nick Wayne and started hitting right hands onto Nick. This is where Adam Copeland went right on the outside. This is where he extinguished the fire on the table, making sure it stops put out the flames with the extinguisher spray right onto the right on the table, making sure it's completely out. You had to use 2 different cans to make sure it was out, so nobody won't be getting thrown through a fiery, hellish table. And then as soon as he did that, this is where Nick Wayne's mother was like, you can't do this. You cannot stop. This is where Adam Copeland burned the flaming table right on the Nick Wayne. He was like, you know what? If he wants to play with fire, then he's going to get burned by it through this table. And this way he grabs on the Nick Wayne into a sunset flip powerbomb position with him hanging off onto the left corner apron. Slammed him right to the fiery, hellish table, right onto the table. This is where he nearly got burned. And I believe his backside was burning, after landing, butt first right onto the table. This is where Shayna Wayne was screaming bloody murder, no, my baby boy. And then this is where Adam Copeland kept her busy, like, and not distracting Adam for finishing off his frenemy Christian Cage, like in the ring, which he give him a spear in the ring, before he can get a chance to spear him, this is where Christian Cage tried to run to him first, and with his TNT championship, he low blowed him right between the legs into his jewels, and then he goes for the spear, spears him right in the middle of the ring, gets the 1, 2, 3, and we got a new TNT champion for at least 2 minutes. All right, but yeah, your new champion, Adam Copeland, for at least 2 minutes until Kill Switch came out of the ring, and this is where he attacked him from behind, and then this is where I believe he chokeslammed him. This is where he was about to cash in his contract for the TNT, for any championship of his choosing, which he chose the TNT championship. This is where Christian Cage's like, no, give it to me, give it to your master, give it to your owner. I'm your owner. You're only just a useless T-Rex. You might as well just give it to me. And this is where he was hesitant at first. He was not just going to hand it to anybody when he worked hard for this opportunity to get a championship of his choosing. But he ended up giving it to him anyway by thinking about it for the next couple of minutes. Christian Cage signs the contract, passed it to the referee. He spears Adam Copeland as soon as he gets back up, gets the 1, 2, 3, and regains his TNT championship. And your winner of this rematch for the TNT championship, Christian Cage, and new TNT champion Christian Cage. All right, I'll congratulate. I guess I both congratulate Adam Copeland and Christian Cage at this time for getting a win for tonight's out of each other, respectively, of course. But yeah, this is where Nick and Shayna Wayne started cheering for Christian Cage on regaining the TNT championship, which I don't see what was the point of Adam Copeland won the championship in the first place, only to lose it to the exact same person. It would be a different story, like if it was Luchasaurus or Kill Switch at this point, with Christian Cage renaming him, which I believe it's probably for the best because the Jurassic Express is no longer active in AEW no more. So I guess that's one good reason why it's no more Luchasaurus rather than Kill Switch. Which that kind of makes sense that him come up with a nickname because considering it's his finishing maneuver name, and that would be one of the good reasons why they would call it the Kill Switch, because it has some kind of origins into the matter, of course, and also being like a killing machine as well, as a dinosaur character, he basically kills his Christian Cage's opponents, flipping off their switch, of course. But what's your thoughts on Christian Cage winning the AEW TNT Championship right back? Let me know down in the comments below, which I think it was very nonsensical. It didn't even have to happen. That was very, very nonsensical. I know they're just doing that because it's all part of the storyline with Christian Cage stealing the opportunity away from Luchasaurus of being TNT champion, and at least and even being TNT champion on his own and not with Christian Cage as co-TNT champion. But it looks like Christian Cage once again the TNT champion. What do you think? What's next for Captain of Charisma? Now he's once again the TNT champion for the second or third straight time. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. But anyways, let's move on to the Continental Classic. Move on to the next match, which is the Continental Classic Finals match, which is the reigning and defending Ring of Honor World Champion, and also the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Eddie Kingston. Anyway, this is where we got the continue of chops, with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, which they were doing plenty of those, right onto each other. But Eddie Kingston even took off his suspenders, saying, come on, Jon Moxley, give me your best that you got. But we're going to talk about that in just a moment. This is where Jon Moxley got him onto the ground. This is where Eddie Kingston tried to put him into some kind of a headlock choke with him back first right on the ground. This is where Eddie Kingston was like, what are you doing, Mox? What are you? Why are you walking away for? This is where John Moxley tried to grab on Eddie Kingston's legs. He dodges his arms, tripping John Moxley over. Like, well, he nearly did. This is where he gets back up. This is where Eddie Kingston will try to do a hand war onto Moxley. But this is where John Moxley hits a shove right onto the face of Eddie Kingston. This is where they start going for they start doing more grappling onto each other. This is where John Moxley, all right, like that's all you got? Like, come on, show me more than that. Like, I thought you were better than that, Eddie. This is where Eddie's like, I am. Like, I'm just warming up. And this is where he started hitting some lefts and rights, punches, forearms. He finally got John Moxley on the ground with a headlock slam, headlocking John Moxley, but somehow he rolled out of it with all the strength in the world. This is where John Moxley's like, you only got me by this much. And then this is where Eddie Kingston's like, it's better to be this much than nothing at all. This is where they start going back with their hand, their grabbing their hands together. This is where they start going on to grab on both of their hands. This is where they start doing a hug, like a hugging grapple, like if it was boxing. This is where they started trying to see who's gonna crack and who's gonna win, who's gonna win this battle, and who's gonna going to snap. And this is where he hits a snapmare right onto Eddie Kingston. Hits a sliding kick right onto the back of Eddie Kingston. This is where Eddie Kingston's like, okay, you got me right there. You were lucky. And then this is where they start spinning around a bit. This is where they start doing a hand war. This is where they start grappling out until Eddie Kingston got him into a snapmare position. John Moxley gets back up from the snapmare. This is where John Moxley's like, all right, that's all you can do, Eddie. This is what Eddie's like, I can do way more than that. Just let me hit some chops on you. This is where they start finally hitting chops right on each other. And this is where this is where he took off his suspenders. This is where they started hitting chops on each other. And I believe they were in the envy list of Gunther like a million times, along with Bryan Danielson being on there because he loves hitting chops. And I believe they love doing this on purpose just to provoke Gunther and get his reaction, which I believe it's working, but I'm not sure if it's going to be entirely a great idea for these two guys ticking Gunther off. Like, it's already enough that he does not like AEW because of these wrestlers doing that. But after John Moxley did a chop right after Eddie Kingston hit his final chop, this is where he put double middle fingers out right into the face of Eddie Kingston. And he was like, you can take that, you can take this and shove it down your throat. And then he pushed it out of the way and hit the chop that was more deadlier than John Moxley. This is where John Moxley hits a more deadlier chop right on him. And he was like, I didn't phase by you MF or Mother Hubba, I should say. Yeah, Mother Hubba hit the middle finger right onto him. And also a knife edge chop on top of that, right onto his chest. This is where John Moxley goes back and hit the chop right on his chest. Like, you keep doing it repeatedly. Right back and forth, like boom, 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 like one back and forth, like boom, 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 until they start whacking each other until they were tired to the point that they went down onto the ground. Like after they were trying to battle it out with double clotheslines, when John Moxley ran right through the left corner rope, but Eddie Kingston was still up when they started keep hitting each other with the clotheslines. It seemed like none of these men were not going to crack anytime soon, but this is where John Moxley tried to go one more time, but this is where Eddie Kingston caught him in midair, hit him with an exploder suplex right onto the ground. This is where John Moxley's like, that's all you got? This is where Eddie Kingston's like that's. And this is where Eddie Kingston was ready to hit the back fist, but this is where John Moxley grabs on his leg, like, my ankle. It hurts. Give me for a second. This is where he spins around, go right onto the upper right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he's like, okay, I'm ready. And this is where Eddie Kingston immediately hits the back fist right onto the jaw of John Moxley. And then this is where, the spinning back fist, I should say, this is where Eddie Kingston's usually the first move, they usually will kick out of it. So Like, I'm not sure if I should pin him. This is where Eddie Kingston was stumbled. Like, anyways, it was like, my leg, like in my chest, in my throat, like I'm getting more sore. Like, this is where he's like, hold on, John Moxley. This is where Eddie Kingston hit the sliding clothesline right onto John Moxley. This is where he hits a line of chops right onto the chest, like repeatedly, and start lining them up like da 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 right onto the chest of John Moxley, right? And this is where John Moxley's like, ow, 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 looking like if he was getting shredded and sliced up by a butcher. Look, like, you might as well call Eddie Kingston a butcher of All Elite Wrestling, which I believe Gunther want to be known is the most butcher in all of professional wrestling, but he's only the most butcher in WWE. So I believe he's probably ticked off that Eddie Kingston's beating him into this record, like record breaking of hitting the most chops, even more than Ilya Dragunov as well. But anyway, this is where John Moxley's like, ow, ow, ow. He's like, I think my heart just stopped. And this is where he went right on the top left corner, started repeatedly hitting those chops right into the chest of the former three-time AEW World Champion. And until he did the one more time, this is where he hits a kickback DDT. This is where Eddie Kingston's like, the moment I've been waiting for, he turned around. This is where he tried to go for a back fist, but before he can even attempt to do such a maneuver, this is where John Moxley came out of nowhere, hits a Mox cutter out of nowhere, perhaps making Randy Orton envious right now. This is where Eddie Kingston hits a back fist right on out of nowhere. But this is where John Moxley hits, he bounced back from the right corner ropes into a rebound clothesline, picks him up, goes for the Death Rider, which I believe he already did that maneuver, which the second time wasn't a guarantee because he already did it the first time, and he wasn't double lucky. So Eddie Kingston was thin to counter out of the maneuver. This is where it hits the spinning fisherman's drop right onto John Moxley, but he kicks out at 2.999999999999999. Double triple nines, minus 0.1 from being 3. This is where Eddie Kingston grabs onto John Moxley's neck, like wrap his arm around his neck and start hitting headlocks right onto John Moxley. Start elbow dropping John Moxley like into this match. This is where he had him in the sleep. This is where he continued his sleeper hold right on to Moxley. Moxley was like, "No, I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go." And this is where John Moxley like, "I gotta get to the ropes." Oh yeah, before I continue, I'll say Bryan Danielson was sitting with the commentators because he was the guest commentator in this match. Like, since he didn't win the semifinals this past Wednesday on Dynamite in the main event of AEW Dynamite. But this is where Bryan Danielson start. This is where Bryan Danielson watching this. He's like, how come I'm not in this match? Like, wishing that he could be by facing his fellow Blackpool Combat Club, one of the fellow Blackpool Combat Club teammate, John Moxley. But this is where John Moxley countered out of his elbow strikes of Eddie Kingston and put him in a sleeper hold, a rare naked choke, I should say. This is where Eddie Kingston tried to roll out of the maneuver. This is where he got up on his feet, like once he got on his feet. This is where John Moxley managed to brought him back down, like rolling him back into the rear naked choke. This is where Eddie Kingston nearly fainted. This is where the referee grabs onto his arm, and this is where it dropped down one, and then referee did it the second time, like 2 in a row. And as soon as he was about to let go of Eddie Kingston's arm, like for a 3, like to see if he's gonna be submitted, this is where Eddie Kingston grabs onto his hand. So no, it's not over yet. Like, not yet, unless I say so. And this is where Eddie Kingston was like, getting back up. This is where he's like, no, like I am going to be the number one final survivor of this tournament. This is where he rolled out of it. This is where Eddie Kingston was trying to get back up and try to count out of John. This is where Eddie Kingston just fainted right onto the ropes. He's like, no, I break. And this is where the referee's like, all right, he's on the ropes, like rope break, like you know the rules, like you better let go or you'll be disqualified. And even if you lose by DQ, you also lose the whole entire tournament, and that means you won't be the Continental Champion. And this is where he had no choice but to let go, or else he won't retrieve the 3 titles. But anyway, this is where Jon Moxley goes right up to Eddie Kingston, right onto the bottom corner. This is where he gave everybody middle fingers, like including the fans, because you know his tweener gimmick, like he acts like a real a-hole to baby faces, but when he faces heels, he acts like the badass. But anyway, this is where Eddie Kingston goes. I mean, this is where Jon Moxley goes right towards Eddie Kingston, but Eddie Kingston intercepts with a back fist out of nowhere, like more out of nowhere than the RKO. Well, I could be exaggerating. Like RKOs are always going to be out of nowhere, but as soon as he goes for a pin, but Jon Moxley kicks out again at another 2.9. This is where Eddie Kingston's like, all right, that's it. Like, I'm going to go for that Northern Legs bomb again. Like, that looked like a Fisherplex, but he grabs onto the other side of his leg, like, and spin him around like if he was going for a brain buster. This is where he was I believe he was double lucky because he successfully did the second time, but not double lucky enough to win with this maneuver. Because as soon as he kicks out, as soon as the referee tried to go for 3, Jon Moxley kicks up and kicks out and gets back up like if he was Hulk Hogan. His Hollywood gimmick version of Hollywood version of himself is Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Like that's how Jon Moxley did right here, like what Hulk Hogan did back in 2002. Like when I believe The Rock hit him with the rock bottom at WrestleMania 18, and the Rock Hulk Hogan kicked out of it, and he got back up, and he was like, no. And that's what Jon Moxley did. I was like, I'm not sure if this is a pain tribute to Hulk Hogan, but it seems like it, like the way he got back up, like except he was not exactly on one knee, like when he did so. He was on both of his knees. But this is where Eddie Kingston grabs on the back of the neck of Jon Moxley, trying to go for a sit-out pile driver, but this is where Jon Moxley was on his right knee, like hanging on to the legs of Eddie Kingston. This is where Eddie Kingston started hitting knee strikes right onto the head of Jon Moxley until Jon Moxley hits a running striking clothesline right on the head. And this is where Jon Moxley's like, no, I'm not gonna let Eddie Kingston win. Like, I know he's my homie, but I am not gonna take this championship away from me. Like, and he whacked him with this rebound clothesline so hard to the point I bet he was echoing with pain right on his jaw. Like he's like the agony's been shaking in his jawline, his whole entire jawline, by taking such a force of a hit onto the former 3-time AEW World Champion and former international champion. This is where he started hitting forearm right on to Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's like, that's all he got. Like, how about do better? And this is where Jon Mox's like, how about now? And this is where he's like, nice try, Jon Mox. And then this is where Mox hits a headbutt back to him. This is where Eddie Kingston went back to the headbutt. This is where he started hitting a headbutt war on one another, where everybody's like, woo, boo, oh. And this is where Eddie Kingston hit a light slap right across Moxley's face. This is where it did not bring Moxley down at all. This is where Mox was like nothing doesn't faze me, not even blood itself, or even the flesh. Like, especially, and also especially when it gets shattered, gets shredded with barbed wire. Like, I'm always used to the extreme violence. And then this is where Jon Moxley slapped him across the face. This is where Eddie Kingston slapped him right back. This is where he slapped him. This is where he started doing the slap war. And this is where he started doing the slap turn and the punches and uppercuts. This is where Jon Moxley grabs on the Eddie Kingston and chokes the life out of Eddie Kingston. But Eddie Kingston smacks his hand around his neck or throat, I should say, and swing back around and hit him with a back fist like that he was not expecting, which he should have expected at some way. But either way, Eddie Kingston got it third time a charm. Like he must have had a 4-leaf clover to hit him, get enough to hit him with that maneuver, and got the 1, 2, 3, and he's the finals winner, and he's the finals winner, and he is the new Continental Crown champion. That's what it's called, the Continental Crown champion. Like to make it sound proper, if I'm making sense, of course. But anyway, yeah, and the new Continental Classic Crown champion, and also still your Ring of Honor World Heavyweight and New Japan Strong Openweight champions. Like your favorite Mad King of all elite wrestling, Eddie Kingston. He won the whole tournament, like going through the likes of Brody King, Andrade El Idolo, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, and now Jon Moxley to get to this point. I mean, he went down with 2 losses, like to the likes of Andrade El Idolo and Bryan Danielson in the first 2 rounds, like in round 1 and round 2. But between round 3 and round 4, round 5, he managed to came back and win, and even in the semifinals as well. But we finally got to see him still be his championship that he's been carrying around for the past couple of months, and not to mention his the new Continental champion as well, which it revealed it was like an AEW version of the classic square-shaped Intercontinental Championship from WWE. But instead of like the planet, it had a crown, like because it is called a Continental Crown Champion. Like if he's the king of the Continental Classic of AEW. And what's your thoughts on Eddie Kingston winning it all? Which I would say at the last minute I kind of knew it would be him when I saw that Eddie Kingston beat Bryan Danielson while Jon Moxley faced Jay White and Swerve Strickland. And I was like, like either way, I thought of it. I was like, I think it could be somebody in the blue leagues, like, which I was like, it could be Jon Moxley, but I'm not sure because one, he already beaten him like multiple times. It wouldn't make sense if they keep it that way unless they have a story plan for him when he finally beats him. But maybe it's for the best that Eddie Kingston did win, and Eddie Kingston's now a Triple Crown, 3 promotional championship from both AEW, Ring of Honor, and NJPW, which he could defend in any promotion, whether it be on AEW or New Japan or ROH. It's ROH. Like that's what basically the Triple Crown Continental Champion is all about in AEW. But yeah, I want to give a huge congratulations to Eddie Kingston of persevering until the very end and becoming the new Continental Heavyweight Champion, or Continental Crown Champion, I should say. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this match. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, if you ask me. It was second match of the night. If I'll say first comes is definitely obviously the main event, including with the surprise reveal on who's the mystery devil, along with the mystery goons that's been attacking everybody in the AEW locker room. Which, speaking of which, we're going to get to that right now. And this is where we got MJF facing Samoa Joe in your main event of the evening of AEW World's End pay-per-view. But before we had the match, this is where we had Adam Cole being in the ring, making his way to the ring, making a shocking appearance on tonight's AEW World's End. Like being in the ringside with MJF, like, which I believe like he's trying to show some support. Well, we're gonna have to see if he is on his side, like maybe or maybe not. But anyways, this is where we do have the match. This is where MJF This is where we had had a very difficult task for MJF. This is where we were witnessing a difficult task for MJF to try to overcome. But this is where Samoa Joe throws him in the outside. This is where he still hang on to the right corner ropes. This is where he counter out of any attack that Samoa Joe was trying to go after him for, but this is where MJF counters out. This is where he went back. This is where Samoa Joe saw him still hanging off the draping on the left corner ropes, and this is where Samoa Joe decided to kick him out of the ring and crashed him and made him crash down right onto the left corner ringside area in the concrete floor. And this is where Samoa Joe hits a running forearm suicide dive right onto the head of MJF and perhaps the left shoulder of the current AEW World Champion. This is where he throws him back inside the ring. This is where Samoa Joe picks up the salt of the earth. This is where he goes for a fireman's carry maneuver, like perhaps a Samoan drop, or even my signature move, like which is called, my version is called the Assassin Valley Driver, but it's known as the most dominating move in all the sports entertainment / professional wrestling. But yeah, unfortunately, that move didn't work. He kicked out at 2.3, which if I wasn't doing this review, I would have cried for the move did not hurt. Just like other wrestlers do, like when their finishing maneuvers or signature maneuver doesn't work for the pinfall victory, or the inspired wrestlers that got it from the wrestlers and the legendary wrestlers doing exactly that. But anyways, back to the match. This is where Samoa Joe was like, that wasn't not much of a great move to use for if I'm trying to successfully get a pinfall victory. Like, how about I try to end this early with the Samoan Muscle Buster, which I believe he tried to do so when he got him into the bottom left corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. But MJF countered, so I hit the knife edge chops with his one good arm, which is his right arm, his easy-handed arm that he's right, because he is right-handed, I believe. This is where Samoa Joe hits a German suplex along after with a snapdragon suplex. Like afterwards, like if it's WWE 2K19 once again. This is where Samoa Joe picks him up and hits him with a third German suplex, which, like I said, they do the finishing touches. Like if you were playing a match with Samoa Joe in 2K19, this is where I try to go for a pin, but MJF saw the ropes right like 2 inches away from him, so he decided to put his feet right onto the bottom corner ropes. This is where the referee was like, it's 2 because it's rope break. Like, this is where Samoa Joe was like, damn it. Like, damn. Like, this guy's not as dumb as he looks. Like, this is where Samoa Joe was looking at him. He was like, what to do next? And this is where he started hanging on to he put his arms right here, like leaning onto resting his arms and his elbows right into the left corner ropes, onto the top rope. This is where he grabs onto MJF. This is where he had him right to the hardest part of the ring apron. This is where Samoa Joe tried to hit him with a dangerous pile driver right onto the hardest part of the ring apron. And this is where MJF hangs on to the bottom ropes of the right corner, or not the left corner. This is where Samoa Joe tried to pull on him. This is where MJF started hitting right hands onto the midsection. This is where Samoa Joe hits a big headbutt right onto the salt of the earth. This is where he puts him on the top rope. This is where he picks him. This is where he finally puts him on the top rope, but he was still onto the outside, onto the left corner of the ring apron. He was trying to hit his finishing maneuver, the Samoan Muscle Buster, but this is where MJF tried to counter out of it. But this is where Samoa Joe ended up doing it anyways, like just slamming him shoulder and back first right onto the apron, which is well known as the hardest part of the ring. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is what Adam Cole was in shock. He was in disbelief. Like, Samoa Joe just actually did that. Like, what the hell? Like, he was in complete disbelief. Like, it looked like him looking like if he just killed him by slamming him right into the hood of a car, trying to break his neck in the process. But this is where Samoa Joe throws him back in the ring. This is where he goes and trying to finish him off by pinning him. But this is where the referee counted the one, counted the two. But MJF kicks out at 2.9999999999999 double triple nines and minus 0.1 away from being 3. I was like, I don't understand how MJF kicked out of that when Samoa Joe hits the most dangerous move from the most dangerous, one of the dangerous men in professional wrestling, which that being Samoa Joe. Like, when it comes to him using that maneuver, like it's overtime. Like, he beating all kinds of wrestlers with that move. Like, you could just name it from out of the back. Like I don't understand how MJF kicked out of that move. Like, that's the first time in a while I saw somebody kicked out of a maneuver like that with Samoa Joe using that move on his opponents. But this is where he hits a knife edge. He picks up MJF, hits a knife edge chop in the right hand, whacking and smacking him. If he owed him money, and MJF denied him by saying he don't owe him sugar honey iced tea. But he did but he hit him so hard to the point that it looked like if he owed him money or anything like that. This is where Samoa Joe tried to go for a second Samoan muscle buster, but MJF was countering out of it because it's not a guarantee, because he hit him with the move outside onto the apron. This is where MJF started headbutting Samoa Joe right into his hand about 5 different times. This is where Samoa Joe walked towards the middle of the ring, walk away, try to turn around. But as soon as he tried to attack MJF has already gone and jumped right over the top rope, hit the striking repeated forearms right to the back of the head. This is where MJF was like, you, Joe, you're going to be given what you deserve. And then this is where he started whacking him right in the head, face first, right on to Tina the turnbuckle. This is where, about 10 different times, with the fans counting along with MJF. This is where he picks him up and puts him right on the. This is where he turned him around, facing MJF. This is where he started hitting Samoa Joe face first, by hitting repeated punch right into the face of Samoa Joe with his right hand, which is his good hand. When the fans start repeatedly along counting with MJF, with him hitting with the face hits 10 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is where Samoa Joe this is where he put Samoa Joe had his face flattened onto the turnbuckle, flattened down onto the turnbuckle. This is where Samoa Joe pointed the tongue out, and this is where he pointed his mouth, and this is where he started biting onto the head of Samoa Joe, like if he was trying to bite some chunks of his chunks of meat out of his head, like if he's trying to bite for his brains out, like if he's Abaddon. But this is where MJF was started pulling onto his arm to say, I still have some good. Still got a few more good strength into my left arm left, so I get to put this together. Looking like he was doing the ozone. I was like, I see why Ric Flair calls MJF the next Randy Orton. But anyways, this is where MJF was getting ready to hit the kangaroo kick. He was doing it like if he was facing Aussie Open. But as soon as he tried to go for it right onto the bottom left corner where Samoa Joe was laying at, Samoa Joe stopped him by kicking his legs, tripping him over in the process. This is where Samoa Joe went right on the middle ropes. This is where he grabs on the MJF, but MJF pokes him in the eyes, taking another page out of the Vipers playbook. And this is where he picks him up into a fireman's carry like position. I was like, wow, like how is he picking up Joe like this? And I think he barely weighs 200 pounds. So, like, I was like, how is the salt of the earth picking him up like that? And this is where he trips up like, oh, sugar on the iced tea. My legs gave out like, I couldn't. And same with his left shoulder. This is where Samoa Joe had him right to the upper right corner. This is where he tried to go. I try to go for the back hip attack, like onto the midsection, that instigiri kick. But MJF hits an elbow right onto the head of Samoa Joe. This is where MJF went right on the middle ropes, hits the double foot stomp right onto the left arm that was hanging off on the ropes on the right-handed ropes that was hanging off of, like onto the Samoan submission machine, bending him down onto the air. And then this is where he shoulder tackled Samoa Joe out of the ring with him still hanging on to the left corner ropes. This is where Samoa Joe grabs onto his neck. This is where he hits a hot shot right onto Samoa Joe. This is where he goes for a springboard pile driver right onto Samoa Joe. This is where he was like off with the head, bouncing off onto the apron. This is where the referee count the 1, count the 2, but Samoa Joe kicks out at 2.999999999, double triple nines, 0.1 away from being 3. And then this is where this is where Adam Cole's like, no. Like, come on, Maxwell. You still got this. Hey, this is your moment. This is your moment. This is where Samoa Joe was once again hanging off the left corner apron. This is where, except this time he had his head and neck right onto the middle ropes on the outer part. This is where that's ducking inside. This is where MJF tried to go for a second time, but I'm not sure it was a guaranteed because once he tried to go, this is where he tried to go for a second time, but Samoa Joe still hang on to into a Alabama slam like position. And he easily got back inside, but still having MJF right on top of his head. And this is where he tried to go for the maneuver, but this is where MJF had him put him in a sunset flip, did a sunset flip onto Samoa Joe, hitting him with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. This is where MJF had – this is where that didn't work at 2.8. This is where MJF grabs onto Samoa Joe's arm and then got him into that arm bar right onto the Samoan submission machine. This is where MJF was like, tap, Joe, tap. And this is where he started bending his fingers with his own wrist tape, like on Samoa Joe, like, tap, Joe, like, come on. And this is where Samoa Joe flips out of it. He picks him up. And this is where he did an armbar of his own, like, still in the maneuver of MJF right inside the ring. Like what are you going to do now, punk? Like, come on. Like, what are you going to do? This is what Samoa Joe was looking like. This is where he's like, you try to do something, little boy. Like, this is where MJF was looked like he got no strength left because he was doing it on the bad arm of MJF that he just got injured from from a few days ago. But this is where MJF started to grab onto the ropes. This is where Adam Cole's like, come on, you got it in you. Resist failure, resist giving up. Like, you got this, you never give up. This is where MJF start crawling and go right onto the ropes, grab onto him for a rope break, which Samoa Joe had no choice but to let go. This is where a referee was like, all right, it's a rope break. Like, don't, like, you gotta let go. This is where Samoa Joe's like, you gotta be kidding me. He's like, nope, you gotta let go. And this is where he was like, damn it. Like I did every single move to this kid. Like, what to do next? Like I gotta find something. I gotta find some other way to. I gotta find. And this is where Samoa Joe's like, I gotta find a more guaranteed and not getting back up move in order to defeat the Salt of the Earth, which he did so. And this is where fans start chanting, F you, Joe, F you, Joe, F you, Joe, because They are his scum because those are MJF scumbags. And speaking of which, that he did a special entrance with all the fans of saying, telling their opinions of MJF, whether if it's true, whether if you're being nice to him, like, but he's saying like he is a scum, and then with the final words of saying, he may be a scumbag, but he is our scumbag. But anyways, this is where the fans start chanting "F you, Joe." Jeff scumbag fans. This is where Samoa Joe tried to grab on MJF. MJF grabs onto that day Mario was doing the armbar, but Samoa Joe flips out of it, hits the Coquina clutch right onto MJF, and this is where the MJF started rolling out of it. This is where he pushes Samoa Joe right into the referee, like when she was laying right onto the upper right corner. Like if the referees weren't useful for counting the pinfalls or countouts, I'm not sure what's the point of having referees, because they purposely getting hit, just get they're in the way, or if the wrestlers are purposely attacking like by using their opponent as their weapon, like so the referees can easily get down, so the heel wrestler can do the dirty work, which I don't think MJF was doing anything dirty, because he's not I could per se say he's a heel. Anyway, this is where MJF was smiling maniacally. This looked like he's about to do something dirty, but I don't think he was gonna do anything dirty, like either way. But he's like MJF, but I thought this is where we could see MJF will retain, and he'll become AEW. But this is where he wrapped something around, like wrapped some kind of a white string around his wrist. This is where he tried to run and go for an attack onto Samoa Joe. But this is where Samoa Joe kicks him right into the face. This is where Samoa Joe was right to the middle ropes. This is where he tried to go for a mid-rope diving maneuver onto Maxwell. But this is where he low blows him right onto the family jewels, which I believe he has a family already. Like luckily he does. Like or else him and his wife will not be starting a new family anytime soon. This is where MJF picks him up right onto his shoulders to a fireman's position. Like, and this is where he picks him up. This is where he hits a F10 right in the middle of the ring. I was like, I thought he was gonna hit my signature move like Samoa Joe, but unfortunately, it was the other most dominant move in all the sports entertainment, which is the F5. This is where MJF would land face first after he did the maneuver right on to Samoa Joe. This is where fans were chanting, pin him, pin him, pin him. They were like, pin him, pin him, pin him. This is where MJF tried to crawl up right onto Samoa Joe. This is where the referee was barely getting back up. This is where he tried to go for the pin count of 1 and 2. And then Samoa Joe got his shoulders up before the referee could even get up to 3 when he was at 2.8. Fans are booing all around the arena like they want their scumbag to retain his AEW Triple B Strap Championship. But easy said than done. Like if you're going past Samoa Joe, this is where MJF was like, all right, like, I need my ring, Adam. Like, Adam, do you have my ring? And this is where he's like, it's one of these pockets. Like, I'm trying to look for. Like, I can't find it. And then MJF was like, what? What the hell you mean you don't find? Like, and it's like, oh, I found it. It's right in my bottom pocket. And this is where MJF's like, finally, thank you. And this is where Samoa Joe grabs him from behind, hits a Coquina clutch onto MJF, but this is where MJF started crawling and rolling out of it, going right through the lower left corner of Tina in the turnbuckle, flip him over into the most devastating move in all of the sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. But this is where the referee was not looking till the last minute. But as soon as the referee counted the 1 and 2, like Samoa Joe flips out and kicks out of it, hits a Coquina clutch right onto MJF, hit it right onto Maxwell Jacob Freeman. This is where he starts trying to elbow Joe right out of it. He was like, please let go. Like, no, like, I will never surrender. I will never surrender, Joe. Like, you might as well try to take me out. And then this is where it looked like he fainted. This is where the referee started testing his hands, like, okay, that's 1. And he's like, okay, that's 2. And oh yeah, and on the video package, MJF said between the lines, like, the only way you're gonna win the championship if hell freezes over, which I believe that could be a reference to CM Punk, also be a reference that he could join WWE in a couple of days from now, like when he becomes a free agent. But the referee got the 1, got the 2, and you won't believe it. Like, as soon as he put his hand up, he let go, and his hand went down. And the referee's like, all right, that's it. Like, he's out. He's fainted. He passed out. Like he cannot do. He no longer can't compete. He got choked out by Joe. And this is where the referee called for the bell, which the timekeeper rang the bell, which it was announced that we have a new AEW World Champion. I'm like, what? Like, Samoa Joe, like, he finally did it. Like, and he finally got what he was looking for, like, he was trying to get from a past few months ago when he defeated when he got defeated by MJF in that Grand Slam match in September. Like, but Samoa Joe finally won the All Elite Wrestling World Championship from the Salt of the Earth. Like now we can finally call him new NXT champion. I want to give a huge congratulations to the Samoan Submission Machine to dethrone the Salt of the Earth and the residential devil of AEW. And speaking of the devil, this is where Adam Cole tried to cheer up MJF, but it looked like he did not want to talk about like him losing the AEW championship. But yeah, what he did not know is we're gonna figure out. We did not know that but what MJF did not know who was under the devil mask is excuse me, who's under the devil mask was going to be right in front of his face, because this is where the devil and his goons came out. This is where they start beating down Adam Cole and MJF. This is where the lights went out. This is where they were aligned with Adam Cole, with Adam Cole being in the middle with him bowing his head, and he got back up. This is where the devil's goons revealed themselves by taking off their masks, which are revealed to be none other than Roderick Strong, Wardlow, and Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Kingdom. Yes, sir, and ma'am. So it really was Wardlow and Roderick Strong and the Kingdom, like that were the devil's goons. And Wardlow fooled us that he said he was in London on vacation, and he's not going to be on tonight's AEW World's End, and he's not the devil nor the minion, but he had all of us fans fooled that he's not the devil. I should have known that it was all just an elaborate trick. But this is where MJF was like, how could you, Adam? Wait, you're telling me that you're like, how could you do this to me? And this is where Roderick Strong hits a big knee strike right onto the face of MJF. This is where they did a complete beatdown on him and lead him right back. And this is where the fans started chanting BS, Bull Sugar, Honey Iced Tea, Bull Sugar, Honey Iced Tea, Bull Sugar, Honey Iced Tea. This is where, and then this is where Adam Cole started grabbing something out of his pocket, and it was none other than his former Bro Chacho's mask, which was the devil mask that MJF wore like when he won the casino chip briefcase from that casino ladder match at AEW All Out 2022. which he revealed and confirmed that he's the devil, the mystery devil. Which Eric Bischoff was right on that, like of him possibly being the devil. Like who else could it possibly be? Like with the last place of MJF's devil mask was in his locker room when Adam Cole was in there, and also we saw him like we was more. He was insisting that hey Birdie Bird, he was insisting that Maxwell Jacob Freeman will team up with Samoa Joe. Okay, I'll turn it on for you. Jukebox? Are you gonna watch it this time? No. Okay. I'll put it on anyways. Here you go.
No. The jukebox. One more year. Five, 6, 3.
Give me 4, but anyway, just pick one out and then just watch it. This one?
No.
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 Okay, I'll just put it on anyway.
No. That one.
But anyways, that's where Adam Cole revealed that he was the mystery devil the whole time, and those were his mystery goons, like of the devil, like which was Wardlow, Roderick Strong, and the Kingdom's Matt Taven, not Baven, Taven and Mike Bennett. That's right. And what's your thoughts on this shocking reveal? Like, yeah, it's working. Okay, you gotta close this now.
No.
Yes, Trey, you. There's no reason why you don't.
No. What I pick? I need all of them.
Okay, why don't you say so? No. What are you doing? Don't pull it out like that.
No.
Trey, you.
I like that one.
Okay, why did you ask Uncle Julian for it? Instead of just trying to do it for yourself.
No.
Don't just yank it out like that.
I do it.
Go ahead, put it back.
Where? I want that one now.
Okay.
No, I don't want that one now.
Why'd you ask if you want to watch it? I don't get it.
No. That forward. No more.
You want to watch this or not?
No.
Okay, I'll take it out.
No.
Trey, you.
Nada.
Anyways, what's your thoughts on the surprise the surprise reveal of Adam Cole being the possible? Come on, don't rip it. Come on. Come on. Stop playing around with this. It's not a toy. Trey, you. Trey, you. It's not a toy. You can't be playing like this. No, don't yank it. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to put it up. Like, if you're not going to actually watch this.
No. Let me lie. No.
Come on.
No.
No. Don't yank it like that. Trey.
No. Hey!
You wouldn't listen, so you'll get it back when you're going to have to. You should have been good. Well, you should have been listening, Trey. But anyways, what's your thoughts on who the devil revealed himself at AEW World's End? And was it a huge shocker of the night? Let me know down in the comments below. Like, that was a major shocker of the night.
No. I take this out.
Please just leave it alone.
No.
Anyways, yeah. But
Not allowed.
Trey, you come on. Anyways, but yeah, that was your list of the review of AEW World's End. My first ever AEW review, pay-per-view review. I mean, my bad. Trey, you.
No.
Anyways, let's talk about what's your thoughts on AEW. One moment. One moment, Trey.
Come on.
Well, yeah. What's your thoughts? And do you think that was the match of the night and the most shocker of the night, which it was, of course. And what's your opinion on it? And what do you think it will work. Just give Uncle Julian a second. I'll help you out with it. Anyways, yeah. What do you think was next with now that the reveal of the Devil and his Goons end up being Adam Cole, the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and Wardlow? And what do you think what they're gonna be doing next is a faction, which the next one being what's the next match? I mean, not next match. The next what's next of this feud will probably be with MJF, and whether if he leaves AEW or not, that also remains to be seen. But we'll probably still see a storyline like whoever wins this feud, like whoever wins this feud, we'll probably see a guaranteed that MJF might leave. Like especially like if they did Adam Cole versus MJF, like anytime in the beginning of AEW, like Revolution 2024, like they could do like MJF taking on Adam Cole, loser leaves the company, which we could see MJF lose that match, and we could see him possibly could join WWE after he signs this extension, probably maybe in January 1st, 2024, if that's the case. If he haven't already signed a new contract already. No, that's not going to hell. Come on, keep that down. That's how the other one got broken. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out in the foreseeable future. Hopefully, I can get Revolution so I can make a review of Revolution. But yeah, that's your 200th episode of the SNA podcast. Me making 200 episodes of this content ever since August of 2023, this past year. And yeah, tomorrow I will be making my final video for 2023, like sending a closeout to 2023, which is going to be the SNA podcast, the Wrestling News, Part 81, episode 201. And make sure y'all check that out. Like we're going to be talking about the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know from the Sportskeeda article, which will be on December 31st, 2023. And what do you think was going to be the latest news for the final day of the year of 2023? Let me know also about that in the comments down below. But also continue to give a big like, comment down below, subscribe, click the bell notification so you can be the very first one to know when I upload my SNA podcast videos. And also, make sure to watch more of my videos. And support this channel, share it with your friends and family. And I'm going to be trying to think of more other contents to make other than professional wrestling onto this YouTube channel, which I already talked about. I'm working on a project with my great uncle, which that'll probably be somewhere in 2024. But yeah. But for now, I'm going to be doing these wrestling videos mostly in the meantime. And also, I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin. This was my 200th episode of the SNA podcast. My first ever AEW pay-per-view review, of AEW World's End review. And I'll say number one match of the night has to go to Samoa Joe versus MJF, new AEW World Champion. We finally revealed who exactly the mystery devil is, which I'll say is not that much of a shocker. It was kind of obvious, but in the way it did not. We didn't expect it to be like with Wardlow joining the Kingdom and the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole himself as the devil. With him denying earlier this afternoon or not morning, I should say, saying he's in the UK or England or London, and he's vacating, and he won't be on tonight's AEW World's End in his former boss's hometown in Long Island, which they were live in Long Island, New York, at the what's that called? The something Veteran Coliseum. The Nassau Veteran Coliseum. That's what it's called. Yeah, that was live in that Nassau Veteran Coliseum in Long Island, New York. And hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to me reviewing tonight's AEW World's End. And this is the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last. And I hope I can get the next pay-per-view, which will probably be Revolution, especially that Sting's going to have his final match in AEW and all of professional wrestling on that event. And yeah, let me know who's going to be his opponent for that event in the comments down below. And also what's going to be next for this saga between the Mystery Devil revealing to be Adam Cole and his new friends with Wardlow, the Kingdom, or reunite with the Kingdom and Roderick Strong. And do you think he's gonna MJF's gonna have some backup of his own? And if you do think so, then who it could be? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And I'll see you all tomorrow on my wrestling news video, my final wrestling news video of 2023. Until we see each other then, Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, out. Bye-bye, my SNA fans. Happy early New Year's.